All right, all right. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. Trying to make some last minute adjustments here, making sure that it was live on Instagram. So I don't know if it is or not. So let me try to live. Once you're live, you'll find it at the top of the Instagram feed. I don't know if I'm live over there at Instagram. Let me update the stream key here. Uh, let's see. I don't think I can now update the stream key. You're already live. You need to change. If you need to change the stream key, remove this destination. Okay. All right. I apologize. Okay. Let me try it again here. Stream key. Save changes. I should now be live on. I should now be live on Instagram as well. How's everybody doing out there? How is everybody doing out there? Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you say hello so I can acknowledge you. Forgive me. Thought I had all this. Listen, when you're the producer and director and all this stuff, it's all on you. It is all on you. So we're going to have another question and answer discussion period here. So if you want to come up, you certainly can. I will drop the link in a little bit. I was watching a little bit of Auntie Anita's live. She just finished going live, and so I saw something after her that I said I got to talk about this. I gotta talk about this. So before we get into all of it, make sure that you do first of all say hello. Second of all, let me make sure that I am seen. Yeah, I can be seen right now. So, all right. So just make sure somebody type something in the chat here and make sure everything's working and all that. So somebody asked me just the other day about. Actually, today I saw it. I saw something about Runner Brother University. So that is up and running. So a couple of people have actually already reached out to me. So it's Runner Brother by Me University, kind of shorten it up. So so we can have a one-on-one session, you and I, or you can have your significant other or prospect soon to be someone else kind of run do a video meet and greet with me or whatever they feel comfortable with, whatever you feel comfortable with. I know a lot of guys be like, oh, who's this guy? I'm not calling this guy, get out of here with that. I'm already who I am. So I definitely would understand that and respect that. But if you still have some reservations of yourself, then you can we can have a session. You tell me about goals, history, his intentions, your intentions, where you want this to go. And I can do a cursory background check, nothing more than just what you can find on the internet. Anything to do any kind of real deep, in-depth research, you need a private investigator's license. I actually thought about getting it. I actually have the application around here somewhere to become a private investigator. So I may fill it out just for this. But I don't plan on doing a lot with that. So, and I'll if you want, I can do as an option. I can do a written report as well. Of course, I give no guarantees that any conversation that he and I have or you and I have is going to increase your chances of success. However, but I just give you some things to look for, as I call them, yellow flags. Red flags mean stop to me. So if you have any yellow flags and things along those lines, then that. So it's funny. So some people still try to reach out to me, and I think this is a good thing, right? Try to get my credentials and all this, right? So I 24 years of experience. I kind of took a lot of the PD stuff off. So 24 years of experience in the police department, 19 years as supervisor manager. I taught human behavior, taught implicit bias, as a member of the crisis intervention team, command staff of professional standards. Our professional standards was our training division and our internal affairs. So I was the head of both of those. I'm an adjunct professor. I teach criminal justice, criminology, forensic psychology, and leadership courses. I have a life coach certification, DEI certification, for science. You guys don't need all that and all that. And at the bottom, it says I am a father. So that's who I is. In case anybody doesn't know, if you want to, why should you talk to me about whatever. So, my time in psychology, my time taking classes, my time, vetting people, being part of the hiring process and stuff, get to know when people are telling the truth, when they're lying, et cetera, et cetera. So I can read people. I think I can anyway. So, and police officers are constantly being lied to you. So you got to decipher what's true and what's not. As a member of the professional standards of our internal affairs, not only did I have to interview witnesses, but also I had to interview the cops. Sometimes the cops are lying to you. So it was like, man, this is crazy, So, but it is what it is. So let's see here. A couple people said hello. Ahoy, Captain Chris, my man Chris. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good evening, everyone from A Good. Clever Girl, hello. Deborah Hutchinson, hello, Big L. Deborah, hey, Big L, and chat. Hey to everyone else. There's more people watching, so y'all make sure y'all say hello. Hey, Lorelai. Hey, Lorelai. I hope everyone is doing well. So we're this is going to be a question and answer period. And all that. So we'll dive into it. I got a good couple of good videos for us already. So we're going to get into it. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. I keep clicking the wrong buttons here. No, that's not what I wanted. Banners. Okay. All right. So let's jump into it. So first video up is one that's going to make you mad. It made me mad as I was watching. I'm like, oh my God, this is making me mad. So here we go. And as usual, you just type your feelings in the chat here. So a couple more people say hello. Hey, Big L, Lorelai, Patricia Davis. Hello, everyone. Rhonda says hello. Felicia May says hello. Stephanie Thompson says hello. Hello to all of you who are coming, watching, and all that. So let's check out the first video. This one's going to make you mad. It's kind of funny and frustrating at the same time. So here we go.
Is what they mean when they say marriage is hard.
All right. First of all, give me a 1. Make sure this can all be heard. Do you guys hear all that? Give me a 1 in the chat if you heard that. It's not playing right now. I paused it right now. Okay, very good. So as you can see, this is a game that's being played. And so they got to match it. So the guy is understanding the assignment here, and his woman, his wife, his sister, whoever it is not understanding. Every time they get one right, he's like, this is the right one. This is the right, this is the best I can do with the focus. I'm sorry. This is the best I can do with the focus. I can't do anything about that. So this is the one right here. And she's like, no, that's not it. It's fury. It's fury. And then watch the very, very end, how they get it all right.
Cero acierto. Cero acierto. Un acierto. Un acierto.
El verde.
No, el verde estaba aquí, ¿no? Y el naranja estaba aquí. Así.
Cero acierto.
Bien. No lo regreses.
Un
Uno,
acierto.
es el verde que va aquí.
El naranja es el que va aquí. El naranja déjalo ahí.
Cero acierto.
No muevas eso.
Un acierto. Cero acierto.
Bien.
2 aciertos.
El rosa,
No.
el fucsia.
No, el fucsia va aquí. A ver.
Un acierto.
Bien. Esto los déjalo aquí.
Uno.
Esto,
El verde.
No ve.
2 aciertos.
No, Ramón, deja el naranja aquí porque el naranja va aquí.
Un
El
acierto.
naranja. Déjalo aquí, no lo
Naranja.
muevas. Sí, el naranja va aquí. Y el fucsia también, déjalo ahí. Esto no lo muevas, mueves de aquí para allá.
0 acierto.
Viste que no sale.
0 acierto.
Bien.
Un
El
acierto.
rojo es el otro que.
El rojo va aquí.
0 acierto.
Bien. Vamos bien.
Bien.
Sí, porque estoy haciendo un descartamiento. Uh-huh.
Un acierto.
Un acierto quiere decir que es el fucsia. Ahí.
0 acierto.
Whatever he does, she undoes it.
Un acierto.
El azul.
El fucsia va aquí. Escucha, un acierto.
Un
El
acierto.
fucsia. No me muevas el fucsia.
Y aquí es el rojo.
No me muevas ni el fucsia ni el naranja. Eso si tú quieres mueve, pero el fucsia y el naranja son aciertos. Pero, no, esto no me va.
Watch the
Uno.
end.
Esto no me
Watch
lo
the
uses.
end.
No, no me lo.
3
Tres.
aciertos.
Este y el
El
rojo.
fucsia, el naranja y el rojo aquí.
0 aciertos.
No se está equivocando. Él a veces se equivoca.
Él.
Sí,
No sé, no es
pero
tú.
tú síguele. No, el jurado, pero tú dale, tú dale. No le pongas cuidado. Tú solo escúchame a mí. Estos dos no lo muevas.
¿Cuáles son?
Estos dos. Desde un principio yo sé que estos son aciertos.
Un
El
acierto.
rojo va aquí.
Un acierto. Es este el acierto.
She's saying that's correct. It's not
¿Qué
correct.
dice ser, hombre?
0 aciertos.
No sabe.
She said, I don't know. I don't know.
Vengo yo.
Sí, pero es para que no me muevas esto.
¿Cuál?
Esto no me lo muevas.
Pero ya ves que yo quiero
Sí,
jugar.
pero es que tú me estás dañando la jugada a mí también.
Yo quiero jugar para allá.
No puedes porque esto es un acierto, dijo él, lo dijo hace ratico.
Ahí.
3 aciertos.
¿Viste? Ahí te, pero ¿por qué le echas?
Porque él no sabe, el jurado no sabe. Así déjamelo.
Un acierto.
It went from 3 to 1.
Naranja, yo siempre lo digo. Te vas a caer tú solito. Te vas a caer tú solito. No estás jugando bien.
¿Cómo así?
Vas a perder. No. Te dije aquí el naranja y aquí el fucsia.
Yo creo que vas a
No,
hacer.
ahí no va. Voltéalo. Aquí va el fucsia. No, aquí va el fucsia.
¿Así?
Sí.
¡Ay! ¡Ay!
5 aciertos.
¿Viste? Yo te dije.
I thought that was hilarious. She's like, oh, this one, this right this way. Okay. I've never played that game before. They're taking way too. I've never played that game before. I've just seen it online. I would be ready to kill somebody. But three correct. No, okay, we're gonna change them. Oh my god. She's not listening or focusing. She's just trying to guess at it. She's stupid. Oh man. So I thought that was funny. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Let's remove this. All right, we'll stop screen right there. Okay, now we're gonna add another one here. I'm assuming that I did this right so we can all watch the same ones here. So okay, so you all, any strong independent ladies in here? I mean, if your man told you not to wear anything, wear something, would you wear it? Yes or no? Let me know. Give me a 1. If your man told you not to wear something, would you listen to him? Give me a 1. If you would not listen to him, give me a 2. So all the ladies in here, if your man told you, I don't want you wearing that, you're going on a date, going outside, would you wear it? Would you listen to him? Take it off and change. Give me a 1. Or if you would not listen to him and do what you want, give me a 2. Clever Girl Reading says, no, I'm not listening to that. I'm being my own person. 2. Lorelai. That's surprising, Lorelai. I'm really surprised at that. Rhonda's a 2. Lorelai's a 2. It's Clever Girl Reading's a 2. Where the ones at? Glorious Love says, no, I'm going to listen. A Good says, I'm going to listen. Donita Philpott says, I'm going to listen. Nakia says, I'm going to listen. Patricia says, I'm going to listen. Deborah says, I'm going to listen. Stephanie says, I'm going to listen. Am I going out with him? Does it matter? It doesn't matter if you're going out by yourself with your girls or you going out with him. Does it matter? He said, I don't like what you're wearing. It's too revealing, whatever. Are you going to change it? Yes or no? Am I going out with him? If I'm going out with him, then 1. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Whew. Yeah, a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do in this chat, in this channel, huh? A lot of work to do. All right. So we'll get into it here. Let's check this video out. Check this out. Hopefully you all can read it or listen to it. You're only saying that now. You're only saying that now, Lorelai. I doubt it. Here we go. I've had my say turn right back around.
So, you know how everybody's talking about these Amazon leggings? So, I wanted to see what that was all about. So, I went online. I got the shorts instead, but they're made out of the same material. So, it's the shorts. I'm going to wear them. My husband is coming home in a couple of minutes. I want to see his reaction. I'm going to be in the kitchen. So, I'm going to put them on and we'll see. Hey.
The hell is that?
What?
What the hell is that?
What? Shorts?
Shorts from where? Dollar Tree?
No, Amazon. What do you mean? They look cute.
You ain't going outside with that.
What do you mean I'm not going outside?
I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. You ain't going outside with that. Those are bed shorts.
Hey guys, all right. So you know how everybody's talking.
He's silly. You need to tell her. There's nothing wrong with her hair. Oh, it's hot in here. I gotta put my fan on. If you say so, Lorelai, if you say so. It seems like you and your man have to have a discussion after the show. Do it after the show. Hello, NW. Hello. Let's see. So last week we saw a couple of less than masculine men presenting themselves, right? So this guy comes in the house and he's very, very, masculine, says, that's a 90s hairstyle. He comes home and says, listen, you ain't wearing that. That's for the bedroom, right? So you're not doing that, right? So and she knew that was the reaction she was going to get. She knew that was the reaction she was going to get. I'm laughing at that hairstyle comment. There's nothing wrong with her hairstyle. So anyway, so I just thought that was pretty good, just to kind of get a conversation going there, right? So, see what the ladies are saying, whether you're going to change, you're going to listen to your man, right? If y'all want leadership protection, right? This is leadership and this is protection. She was playing with him. She was. So this is, she knew exactly what he was going to say. She knew what type of man she married. This is not a surprise. She just wanted this for the reactions. But she, this is leadership or protection. You want leadership, you want protection. This is what it is, because he takes her out on a date. Next thing you know, dudes are whistling at her, trying to talk to her when he goes to the bathroom, or some crazy other kind of crazy stuff is going on like that, right? So that's protection, right? That is a form of protection. So you ladies out there who would put the twos up and be like, I'm doing what I want to do, question take a look at yourself and ask yourself, about protection. That's how my husband was. Of course, yeah. Listen, you changing that. That's not even a question. You changing that. I'll be in the car. Come out when you look better. Got something more presentable on. She's coming home with me. She can show it off as fine as she wants. She's yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess you don't have to change then, Lorelai. It's protection and leadership. She's playfully. I guess they had fun in bed that night. I know I would have had fun. You want to put me on YouTube? Come over here, right? Let's put here on the list, right? That's the way I would have done it. But no, I would listen as far as those shorts, not the hairstyle, but the shorts. Lady bugging on her hairstyle, man. Stop. All right, let's see another video for you, for us. Let's see. Let me move that. Stop screen share. Present. Let's do this one. Okay, now here is one that I really had a problem with. Right, we talk about where the men of God in this day and this time. We talk about lack of leadership, lack of protection, where the men of God lack of masculinity, lack of masculinity. Lorelai says, I'm the jealous one. Okay, well, let me ask you this, Lorelai. If he came out with some booty shorts on, some hoochie daddy shorts, and showing off all his muscles, would you go tell him to change? tell us that. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button in here. Hit the like button. Stop playing with me. Hit the like button. Okay, so here's a guy who is this the type of men that are being raised in this generation? So we want to check that out. Is this the type of men that are being raised in this generation? And is this acceptable to you? I hope this is the right one. I think this is the right one. No, that's not it. Yeah, this one. Here we go. So 6:30 in the morning. 6:30 in the morning. This guy is. I didn't even know this was an accident. I didn't even know I could do this. 6:30 in the morning. This guy, he kisses his wife or girlfriend off. She goes off. Now the kid, they sleep all day. He didn't go over numbers with her, teach her colors. She wakes him up at 3:00. I mean, why would you make a video like this? I mean, obviously somebody's filming. It's obviously a skit, but like, what is going on? Clever Girl says, "I love this." Right? This is the kind of this is masculinity to you. This is what you like. This is what you. This is acceptable in this day and this time. Clean it up. This dude hasn't gotten dressed. It didn't show him bathing himself, bathing a little girl, taking care of her, trying to help her get ready for school, teaching numbers, letters, blocks. Just like, what is going? I see no wrong in assisting with housework, but we both got to be working in. But that's not what we saw here. We didn't see them both going out to work. We saw her coming home, handing him the pocketbook. Oh my God! Look, I just can't call it with this generation. What's going on? I cannot call it. I can't call it. Did he wash his hind parts? Did he bathe himself? I mean, this is just absolutely nuts. Everyone different, but not my cup of tea. But it has always been that men had to be productive in society. It has always been that men had to be productive in society. Is this man she's obviously being productive, the wife or the girlfriend, whatever she is, but is he being productive? You're going to raise a little girl. She's going to grow up and expect a man. Okay, my husband, the little girl's going to grow up and say, oh, my husband can stay at home and just sleep all day. That's just not for me. Some dads probably do this. Crazy. That's okay for some part of the day, but not sleeping for most of the day. Yeah, that's crazy. Absolutely not. My husband does the same majority of everything. He quit working 10 years before I did. I love being spoiled. Oh, okay. Well, he worked though. He was productive, right? And do you have little kids who he's supposedly supposed to be? Listen, if he doesn't have a job and he's going to stay at home, at least get up and teach her colors, numbers, blocks, read to her. Let's be productive. Go out to the store, do something besides sleeping all day. Come on. This can't be. I'm not going for it, but if it works for that couple. Well, see, that's where I have a problem because, well, I understand what you're saying, New York. The problem is that this creates weak men. This creates weak men. Who's going to be Who's going to be the officers? Who's going to be the construction workers? Who's going to join the military, right? Who's going to protect you? You're going to trust this guy to protect you? He's not even working out all day, right? Maybe he's home building up, taking jiu-jitsu. He's not doing anything. At least he's straightened up. Not even dressed, got no shoes on. Come on, brother. Come on, man. Maybe you have does he look disabled? Does he look disabled right there? Does he look disabled right there? Honestly, men who stand for something wouldn't be able to accept this. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, they're not gonna be able to accept that. This dude is still in his PJs. I couldn't remain in my PJs when I stayed at home. Who taught him? Exactly. Right. His circle of friends. She'll be tired of him in the next few years. It's definitely going to get old. It's definitely going to get old. I watch a guy on YouTube in a darn wheelchair, and he do way more than this. Come on. Exactly. I'm going to try to find the next video here. All right. So I don't get accused of doing a bait and switch here. So let's talk about it. Men on the prize. And I will open up the panel after this video. This is a short one. It's a little clip, but I want to, you guys can come up here, and this video right here ties into it about men being the prize, and all that. Dr. Bid, remember, not everyone can be the alpha man. Everyone cannot be the alpha man. I think I want to make a distinction between being some type of boss, leader, head of an organization, and being unproductive. I mean, this. I don't even know if this is qualified as being a beta. I mean, he's so low on the totem pole. Your wife does everything. You didn't do anything all day, and they made a video about it as if this is a good thing. I don't do anything. Right? The only thing you're missing from this is just smoking weed and playing video games. That's the only thing missing from this. Unproductive men. So you don't have to be the super dominant dude who's making millions of dollars, but at least get up and do something. Clever Girl says you and your husband have been together for decades. You feel safe and protected. But it sounds like your husband works. You're putting yourself in this guy's category, and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put him in the same category. And somebody else said maybe he has a disability. It could have been he was doing something, whatever, and then maybe he got disabled. That's certainly a possibility. Or maybe he retired. I know a lot of, particularly in the police department, right? A lot of guys were always retired before the women, because we had 20 years and out, 25 years, 30 years and out, right? And some like a lot of guys were married to teachers. Firefighters as well, right? You're married to a teacher, right? So that she got to do 35 years. You only got to do 30 years or 25 years. You retire 10 years early. Now, okay, then you can do that. But are you raising kids? I mean, at that point, that's the issue that I have. That's the biggest problem that I have. In the jungle, there's different types of males, like snakes and jaguars, ladies. Each snakes. Let's stick to mammals at least. So jaguars, tigers are all, they're all solitary lone predators who are badass in and of themselves. Absolutely. But does this guy remind you of a jaguar? I love how you guys try to make excuses for this guy. I mean, it's hilarious. Let's see here. Let's see. Stop that one. Okay, so we'll do this video here, and then I will drop the link so you guys can come up and tell me where I'm wrong and all that kind of stuff, right? So here we go.
Put a lie. I'm starting to feel like the man is really the prize. I don't know why.
Ew, girl, no.
Yes. I'm starting to feel like men are really the prize because literally, as a woman, we can date whoever we want, but we can't marry who we want.
One of them says,
what are the odds of
I know I can.
Let's be real. You have to wait for the man to ask you to marry him. You have to wait for the man to ask you to be his girlfriend. You have to wait for the man to ask you out on a date. All these kind of things we're waiting on a man to do.
How about you have multiple? So you're not waiting on nobody.
The ones that you really want, they don't want you.
What?
The ones that you really want.
Who are you speaking for?
It's the truth. Realistically speaking, they want that one guy who was taking forever to claim them.
That's not how it is.
Yes, Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm the man is like, I'm not gonna lie.
So I'm gonna play it again. I hit the stream around link. Anybody who wants to come up certainly can. So the men being the prize, right? She's saying that I'm not gonna lie. You know, I'm starting to think the men are the prize because they can marry who they want. Ladies looking for relationships, and if you hear other people saying, "What? No, that's crazy." No, and somebody else says, "Well, why don't you just have multiple?" Am I lost? Or just because you have multiple doesn't mean that they're willing to wife you up. And if you don't want to be a wife, everybody doesn't want to be a wife. I definitely understand that. So you can just have a bunch of dudes. But she is obviously coming from a perspective that she wants to be a wife. She wants to, and not only that, but she wants who she wants. And the one that she wants don't want her for that particular role. It's one thing, as I've said in other shows, it's one thing to be able to set up sexual liaisons, get your cheeks clapped, however you want to put it, with multiple men. That's one thing. Or maybe you can have a bunch of dudes paying your bills, and just as long as you give them access to your body. If that's okay with you, that's okay with you. But if you're looking for something more substantial, something more long term, then it's an issue. And she sounds like she's having an issue. So I'll play it again.
The man is like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm starting to feel like the man is really the prize. I don't know why.
Ew, girl, no.
Yes.
I'm starting to feel like men are really the prize because literally, as a woman, we can date whoever we want, but we can't marry who we want.
One of them says,
What are the odds of
I know I
let's be real. You have to wait for the man to ask you to marry him. You have to wait for the man to ask you to be his girlfriend. You have to wait for the man to ask you out on a date. All these kind of things we're waiting on a man to do.
How about you have multiple, so you're not waiting on nobody?
But the ones that you really want, they don't want you.
What?
The ones that you really want.
Who are you speaking for?
It's the truth. Realistically speaking, they want that one guy who was taking forever to claim them.
That's not how it is.
Yes, which, like, I'm not gonna lie.
So women make their own money these days. What does that mean to a man? What does that mean to a man? What does that mean to a man who is productive? It's obviously meant something to the previous guy, right? To this guy, it's obviously meant something to him. But to a guy who's productive, what does that mean to him? Can the man spend your money? Can you ask him for this X, Y, and Z? Pay my car note this month? Can he ask you for that on a routine, regular basis? What does your money mean to him? You're going to pay for his haircuts every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, whatever it is. What seriously? What does that mean to him? I don't know what I don't. Making your own money, and oftentimes makes you less attractive to dominant male tigers, alphas, and jaguars. We're gonna stick to the mammals. Right? It makes you less attractive because you come, a lot of times they come with attitudes. So women making their own money means what? You make your own money means what? You still want me to pay for the date. You still want me to pay your bills. You still want me to get your hair done. Right? You still want me to pay for your nails. So what does that mean that you make your own money? What does that mean? A lot of men these days cook too. But women, but so what is that? What is, I mean, we're both doing both these roles, but when it comes to protection, to provision, to making something lasting, I mean, it seems like as if the gender roles want to go out the window, and this type of dynamic that they filmed on the screen here seems to be gone. But if you're looking for something lasting and more traditional, listen, maybe I'm an old fogey. Maybe I don't get it anymore. Maybe I don't. But this new stuff is not from. It's not for me. It's not for Big L. Agreed. What's out here, I see the same. Men really out here like they are the prize, 40s and 50s age range, and I'm hearing 20s and 30s as well. I've come to terms that men cannot be the prize in this day and time. Some men are accepting women that are ratchet, which is causing women to be disillusioned and thinking that men will accept them. Let me remove this here. I don't know about that. I'm certainly not. Listen, I think there's probably a lot of standards lowering going on all across the board. And to me, it's just madness because I think that all the standard lowering, and the woman that was in the video that we just played, somebody in the back.
I'm not gonna lie.
Somebody in the back whoever this. Let me see if I can stop it. She sips some wine and then she starts talking. Her right there in the back there, she says, why don't you just have multiple, right? All this standard lowering is all just, I mean, are you really happy with that? Are you really happy with a guy sitting home doing nothing all day playing video games? Are you really happy with being part of a roster in the rotation? Are you really happy with, and if you are, you are. But I can't imagine that humanity has changed that much in 30 to 40 years. We might have changed the dynamic as far as working relationships and all that. But are you really do you really want a guy who's not doing anything? Do you really want a guy who's lesser than you? I went to see that movie, and listen, this is something that's being pushed and pushed and pushed. So everybody knows well, maybe you don't know, but I grew up in the 80s, and there was a cartoon on when I grew up called the Transformers. They just released a cartoon, great, best Transformer movie of all time in my estimation. But in the movie, right, it's about, two alpha males, as we're going to stick with that, right? Optimus Prime and Megatron. It was their origin story. And so they put a couple of female Transformers in it. I don't have an issue with that. But they had to put, I'm better than you at every point. And this is what she said. I'm better than you in every single way, in every single shape, form, and fashion. Okay, so I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing now, right? He's bigger than her, stronger than her, but she's somehow better than him in every single way. And then who gets chosen with the matrix of leadership? I know I'm going all nerd and full geek on you, but this is what we're dealing with, right? This idea that we should somehow elevate women at the sacrifice of men. That's what a lot of people are talking about. We're elevating women at the sacrifice of men. You didn't, in order to elevate, her name was Alita 1 in the movie. In order to elevate Alita 1, did you have to denigrate Optimus Prime or Orion Pax, as he was known at that time? Was that really necessary to do? So, and then you wonder why. Next thing you know, you got guys like this. You wonder why that comes on. Because it's in our cartoons, it's in our movies, it's in college courses. You wonder where it comes from. This is where it comes from. Let's see. Take care of you, and one day you may be noticed. And anybody wants to come up, it's on the the link is in the chat, so anybody wants to come up, you're certainly more than welcome to come up. I can dig it. I understand her feelings. Not that guy a joke. Your money means nothing to a man. It means absolutely. It means not to a man. It'll mean something to him, to this guy, but to a man, your money means nothing. In fact, it might even be an inhibitor. In all honesty, it might even be an inhibitor. If I haven't done a show about that, I got some stuff that's already in the pipe. I think I've already covered it. Either I covered it or it's going to be coming up. It's hard for me to remember because I got like 10 things that are coming up. Oh, somebody joined in. Glorious Love, what say you? Thank you so much.
Hi.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to turn down. I'm watching you on my TV and phone and iPad, all three.
Okay.
So I had to turn the volume down. So you know what? I had to call up because I know my comment looked kind of, crazy. I have just really been contemplating these things because it's become baffling to me. This whole male-female dynamic, black female dynamic, or male and female dynamic, I should say. With my comment, let me just explain. I do believe that I at once believed that men were the prize, but now I'm beginning to believe that men are not the prize because, please forgive me for this, but I think men are being fake. I think they're honestly being fake because I'm seeing some of not all men, some men, and I'll say specifically some of what I call the quote unquote simps, who are still continuing to go after these women that they say that men are saying that they no longer go after. They're going after the BBLs and the bonnets and the da 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 da. They're saying, but they're saying they're not, and that's what's causing some women to be disillusioned, uh, thinking that, they're saying, well, I still get a lot of men coming after me. I still got a lot of, it is true. They still do. So I think that the simps and these fake high value men, some of them are actually undercutting the real high value men, because they are secretly still pursuing women like this. Now I know some will say that, well, it's only for one reason. The only reason they're pursuing them is because they see them as an easy mark, and and it's for actual reasons and things like that. Okay, I get that. But I try to convey this. This doesn't register with women sometimes. It honestly does not register I don't believe it registers with some women, that they're thinking that men are after them for that one reason. And so it perpetuates. They almost don't see a need to change, because it's about a numbers game for women. Sometimes they see all of these things in their all of these people in their DMs and in their inboxes and stuff like that, and men chasing them. It just doesn't register to them that they're not pursuing them for marriage. I don't know why it doesn't register to them, but it just doesn't. And I've just come to terms with this. And that's why I think that until men stop doing this, there's a line drawn, and they actually mean what they say, and stop pursuing what we call the ratchet, or the women, uncooperative women and stuff like that, and the women who are fake or whatever, all those things that the men say that they don't like. If they don't stop pursuing them, it's not going to stop. This is what we're going to continue to get.
I absolutely agree with you. I could not have said it better, in that it's not registering. The men who are doing this, pursuing those women, they are just easy. And before, being easy was a slur. It's not anymore. It was a slur to be called, to call a woman easy, hoe, whatever, all those different type of language. Now it's not. And so, so they're chasing a woman with the BBL and the bonnets and the long, crazy long fingernails and all that kind of stuff, because she's easy. I will, I can sleep with her after knowing her for a week. If it's that long, I pay a bill, and I don't have to give her any type of emotional labor or attention, and I can just get what I want. And so they can, and it reinforces in their minds that there's nothing wrong with that. This was this girl. This was this girl.
Really want? They don't want you.
What?
It was this girl at this point who said, "What?" The one in the back there said, "Why don't you just have multiple? So I'll dress the way I'm dressing. I will act and talk the way I am, because no man is going to force me to change because they're going to sleep with me. And I'm mistaking the sleeping with me for actual love and attention.
A relationship, yes.
In a relationship. You think, and you're kidding yourself. But the one who's doing the talking here understands, wait a minute.
Yes.
To a classy guy, to a guy that I want, a guy I can bring to my family's barbecue and picnic, and as I can go apple picking with, now that it's fall and what's coming up, Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming up, do all this kind of stuff. I can't take these bums to these places.
Right.
So this is where we're at.
And some of these women don't realize, they're honestly not thinking of it that way. They don't realize that the pursuit has nothing to do with relationship, or that the men wants a relationship. They don't realize it until they have an epiphany, until they getting of a certain age. They've been out there, they're getting a certain age, they're not married, they're figuring out they're not married. And that's why they start answering those questions. Well, why am I not married? Well, why am I not? And some of them still don't learn even from there. They still don't learn. It's still, I can't explain it, but it is like an ego thing. They are seeing so many. When I tell you, women are seeing so many numbers of men coming after them, sometimes men fail to believe that. But the more ratchet they are, the more ratchet they dress and whatever, they have men running them down, and they are actually thinking that is men pursuing them in a wholesome or legitimate way. It's like something blocks their mind, that they're not, they don't see it for what it is. They're under a strong delusion.
A very strong delusion. Let me get to this
Mhm.
comment right here. It matters that women make their own money, because I don't know too many men who don't have a wife or girlfriend that don't have a job. It's necessary these days to provide a decent lifestyle. There's been a lot of research about that, and maybe I'll do a show about that, about what really takes to raise a family, to be married, number one, and to raise a family. Maybe actually I'll put that on my radar to do, because it doesn't take as much. I mean, to live a decent life. Okay, I mean, you can live a decent life at $60,000, depending on where you live. But,
Mhm.
and I'm going to pull out all the numbers, so that show will be coming. But if you want to travel and take vacations 2-3 times a year, have brand new car notes, a new car note now is 6 years and $700. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, if you want that, then it's going to cost you. But depending on, so this is all gets into how you want to live. So, but that attitude, a lot of times it's not the money, it's the attitude. And I don't got to listen to you, and I don't got to change my shorts. Right? Remember that we just did that. I don't got to change my shorts because I make money too. I don't got to listen to you. I don't need your protection. I don't need your leadership. That is the attitude that gets people canceled. And so therefore, exactly what we're saying, what you just brought up, is
Mhm.
that okay? The guy will chase the one who's less quality, who chase that, because I just pay the bill. I just give you some money for rent or cell phone money or whatever. Get your nails done. I sleep with you, and it's less of a headache. But you get a less quality woman. So men, unfortunately, sometimes will sleep with the woman for a lesser quality woman and get other things taken care of, and just take care of them themselves just for a good time. So it takes a lot of maturity on the guy to say, listen, I want more than this. I want a girl who can actually, if something happens to me, help me out. And I don't want the attitude. So this is the dichotomy, and this is the dilemma. So let
It
me
is a
take your
dilemma.
thoughts about that.
And I would love to see platforms like yours, and to attempt to address. Now, you don't do this as much. You don't bash women and stuff like that. But I would love platforms to take a look at the way, I guess from my perspective, the fact is that what you're doing is not registering to to women by constantly tearing them down and stuff like that, and talking about it, or calling them ratchet and things like that. And the reason it's not working is because you have undercutters, you have men. It's in the power of the men, I'm thinking, because you have men who are out there actually aggressively pursuing women like this, and they're getting it wrong. They're missing the signal. They're under a strong delusion. They honestly think that the men's pursuit is of their intention as well. They're honestly thinking that it's equating to that to them. So men have got to stop. They've got to stop. If you really want this to stop,
Mm.
you've got to stop. And not just get on the bandwagon and say, oh, we have passport bros and we're going overseas and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. We're not going to mess with, black women. It's a farce, because it's not true, because you got these simps or whoever they are, or fake high value men really coming after these women. And I, it, I believe what these women are saying when they say they're in the DMs and stuff like that constantly, because there's desperation out there. Let's just put it that way.
Listen,
I felt it.
a man has to be very careful about sliding into a woman's DM. You guys, anybody follow Michael Eric Dyson? He was on the panel.
I heard about
This
that.
man was on a panel on CNN having a debate with the Caucasian woman about the Kamala Harris. And then this woman went into Congress and showed the screenshots of the DMs of him trying to slide in her, asking for pictures. Listen, if that wasn't a register to all men to stay out of women's DMs, watch what you put on your text messages. I mean, here Michael Eric Dyson is a college professor. I think he's teaching at Vanderbilt right now. He's constantly on CNN, Fox News, all these different high profile platforms. And this woman, who's a U.S. he's either a U.S. congresswoman, or a state congresswoman from South Carolina. I think she's a U.S. congresswoman from South Carolina. She's a Republican. Put this man on blast. I mean, talk about gangster. Talk about listen. So you got to be careful. So yeah, these guys, no matter what they are, and don't ever fool yourself. Just because the guy's high class and wearing a suit and a tie, he still wants some cookie too.
Exactly. And those are some of the ones who I'm going to call fake value, high value men. I mean, I'm not trying to come against him, but I'm just saying the ones that you wouldn't think that, the ones that are saying, well, I'm high class and I make all of this money. Them are some of the main ones in these people's DMs. And that's where you have women thinking, like you said, you just showed some of those women thinking, well, hi, just have quantity. Because they can. Because they can. And that drives up the body count. But because they can. So
it's disturbing to hear men call themselves the prize. They're a very effeminate term. In the traditional biological sense, women don't win quality. I don't know if you meant time, equality, me. So men traditionally were. I don't like the term prize either. What do you bring to the table? The prize. But I can see where one time men were at least deemed to be the prize, right? Women couldn't leave the house and really feel protected for a long time. There was lions, tigers, there was, all kind of crazy stuff out there, roaming bands of nefarious men, all this, all throughout human history, right? So now is the safest time for women to leave the house because men have been docilized, if that's even a word, right? They become more passive. And also, women are making more money. To Clever Girl's point, they are making more money, absolutely. But does that make them the prize now? Does that make men the prize now? So listen, B, I hear you. I don't really particularly like the prize. I would never call myself the prize. Clever Girl's coming up. I would never call myself the prize. But I would never call myself the prize. But I do think that ladies, that it could go back and forth, right? If you really want a quality guy, and I think this goes to the lady's point in the video, if you really want a quality man, then a quality man is going to provide you with protection and provision. He's going to take a lot off your plate. He's going to provide you a more of a stress-free life. Your money's not going to be essential to him because he's a good guy. So that's why I think that men, if anything, would be a 60-40 the prize. Is that going to be the same going in 2024, 2025? I don't know. Excuse me. Clever Girl, you're here. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
What say you?
I think y'all should concentrate on the men first instead of the women.
I kind of agree.
These channels always concentrate on the women, but the thing is, if the men get themselves into check and they're honorable men and they're honorable people and they have their stuff together, the women will follow, because that's what women do. We follow. And so I don't think y'all quite understand that. So there's always these channels about getting women in check first. But the thing is, y'all like women, y'all date women, y'all go after women who are the OnlyFans girls, the sugar babies, the Kim Kardashians, the Amber Roses. That's what y'all like them women now. So if y'all didn't want those kind of women, they wouldn't be out there. Because it's just like that video you showed where the guy told the female what not to wear. First of all, she's gonna wear it anyway if she wants to, but what she's gonna realize is the kind of guys out there do not want a woman who wears clothes like that, and then she'll change her outfit eventually. So
sure. So listen, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And I started this channel talking mostly to men, and I'm going to keep talking to men. A lot of the questions that I have been asked are being specifically asked. But when they don't ask me questions, my channel is definitely coming after the men. I'm trying to pull it up here so I can show you. I got like 10 videos that are coming up. So.
And I'm just saying, it's a lot of channels that go specifically after women, and they try to say women aren't all this and all that. And the problem is, it's really the men. And black women get a different experience on this earth than anybody else, because we don't get the same treatment. We don't get to live a soft life normally, because it's not like our communities are not set up for that. Our communities are set up for the men and the women to work. And so, yeah, and then y'all keep saying y'all don't care about our money, but I don't agree with that because y'all, your actions don't support that. So I don't know what else to tell you except I did the same job you did, and so I see when men tend to live with other women, they tend to move in with the women, not the other way around normally. And so you've seen it. You've seen it in that profession. You know what I'm talking about. So it's not.
Yeah, we talked about it. Listen, policing has changed so much. I talk about the time when I became a cop in 1995. Our captains, our lieutenants would get on us. You guys need to get out there. You stop running around. And these were, and I'm in the Northeast, and in the Northeast, it's the cops in particular were all Italian and all Irish, right? So they would all tell us, and particularly as all new officers would come on. These are things they would talk about at the roll call. These are all things that they would talk about at the roll call about getting themselves together. Be a man, be a protector, be a provider, and it was absolutely nuts to see this type of thing going on. So what's going on today? Yeah, I saw guys moving in with girls. I'm like, what are y'all doing, man? But it's definitely a different world, and all that. So
it's different than when we were growing up, because when I was growing up, my parents used to listen to Motown, and y'all used to sing us love songs back then. Y'all used to be like My Girl, all those beautiful love songs back in the day, and then all of a sudden the 80s came around, and was it Uncle Luke came out, and then all of a sudden Girls are Bees and Hoes. And so now y'all like, wow, female rappers doing what the guys are doing. When y'all started it, y'all did it to us first.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and the women are following now with the Megan Thee Stallion and all that. So somebody,
they making a lot of money off of it. I don't blame them. Y'all made a lot of money off of it.
You might as well, right? So,
Right.
But yeah, no, I definitely think that the guys are chasing low hanging fruit, and they are definitely and going after what's easier, and it's definitely a different world.
I think what's worse about that is that the men are they're chasing the low hanging fruit, but they're perpetuating an issue, and they are saying that they're not chasing the low hanging fruit. They're criticizing and degrading the low hanging fruit while they're still chasing the low hanging fruit.
Right. No, they're criticizing all Black women. So men are making money off of stepping on Black women right now, and they're getting their channels. Monetized by doing it. And so it's not the same. We're not doing the same thing to Black men. It's not that we're not trying, because we're trying to say our part of it. But it seems like if you want to make a lot of money right now, whatever race you are, just put down Black women. Black men gonna laugh at it, and then they're gonna monetize their channels. And I can really say I don't appreciate it. So they keep trying to act like Black women are the least wanted, the least desired. And I know that's not true. I've been to several countries. I've been to Australia. I lived in Japan. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Jamaica. They don't like skinny women in Jamaica. But if you got a little weight on you, you go to Jamaica, they like it in Jamaica. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to I can't even remember. It's just been so many places I went to. So but yeah, that's most of it. Alaska, Hawaii, where else? I don't know.
So wait, I'm confused. In your statements about the places you've been, are you saying the Black women are liked or not liked?
As far as I can tell, they like us there. I go over well in other countries. So and it seems to me like if you look at certain videos, certain YouTube videos, you'll see that they're marrying Black women, and not only dating them. It's just not the biggest. It's not the biggest draw, so it didn't get the most.
Are they okay? Let me ask you this: are they? And I don't know. I plan to do a lot of traveling. So I'm also very skeptical about what you see. I really am. So when I'm talking about when you go over there and see a different dynamic. Now, I'm not skeptical about them marrying African women. I see that all the time. But are they marrying American Black women?
Just American women. You go to Australia and somebody else will check you out. They like American women over there better than African women. You can go to Japan. Japanese men, they like Black women. So it's not like we're the most desired, but if they find you attractive, they will come for you, and they will dine. They will date you. They'll try to dine you. I didn't really do it because I found my husband over there, But I didn't date anybody Japanese, but they came for me a lot, and I was just like, no, thank you. And what they'll do is they'll spend money on you immediately. As soon as they find out they're attracted to you, they'll start spending money on you. And so, if Black women want to go to Japan right now, I would say do it.
Yeah, definitely Japan and China. Yeah, I definitely think.
Black women, we don't have to go to third world countries like some of the men do. Go to first world countries, get you a man that make a decent amount of money, and then if you want to put your money with them as well, that's awesome. But you don't necessarily have to do it in certain countries. You do in America though, because it takes a lot of money to live in America.
B says, in traditional dynamics, women are the prize and men are the catch, meaning men initially pursue the woman to win her devotion, then women must reciprocate her heart. In a genuine loving relationship, we are a gift to each other. We are the prizes to win and to keep.
Well said, B.
I feel that if a man want you, he would choose to be with you. Of course. BBL lip culture. Play stupid games when stupid prices. We are out of God's order. When you are raised decently, you want to be with someone decent, man or woman. And that's not including the insurance. Greetings. Hello, high vibe. Thank you so much for joining. Both men and women are out of order. Yeah, we try to get... Women have never been any man's prize. There are about 20 women to one man.
My husband think I'm his prize. I don't know what you're talking about. And I can't cook. I don't clean that much. I'm not all that extraordinary. But he do most of everything. But he still treats me like an equal partner. So I'm very lucky. He just had he came from a middle class home with both parents, and his mother taught her children how to be decent people and how to cook and clean. So I'm just whipped cream on top. That's all I am. So my husband can do everything without me. He can do every single thing without me. I'm not necessary. He just really wants to be with me, and he loves me, and we've been together since the 90s. So yeah, it's you can let these guys tell you whatever they want, but if they think you are the prize, they will treat you like the prize. And so I'm very spoiled. That's all I gotta say. And I'm very grateful for it. I don't know why God loved me like this, but He does, and so does my husband. So and I'm married to a Black man, and his brother is the same. I'm not the only one. His brother is just like him.
All right, so somebody put this in here. Let me play this. I got this from Pink Book Lesson. She is definitely doing some good work here. So I'm going to play this video. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I don't like stealing everybody's content. But here's Michael Eric Dyson being thirsty for this woman on this show here. Let me take you down, and I'll invite you back up, okay? If you want to come back. Thank you. Present. Let's see, stop screen. Present, share screen, Pink Book Lessons, share. Here we go.
That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of Black people.
Oh, so now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said you weren't a racist.
That is complete.
You don't have to intend racism to
No. You are intending that
your disrespect of Kamala Harris is part and parcel of a disrespect.
It's offensive,
Congresswoman.
and it's
why can't you just? I'm not calling you a racist. I'm saying what the practice is.
You are. You absolutely are.
No, what's disgusting is your disrespect of her,
Professor. So I don't want to hear it. It's fake outrage. I would like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Yeah. Michael Eric Dyson. Just last month, a clip of him went viral on CNN where he was WWE wrestling with this woman on TV, only to make Black women emotional and weaponize that energy for Kamala's benefit.
Well, if you want to talk about misinformation, we can talk about Kamala Harris's Google ads, like literally taking headlines from mainstream media and rewriting them, which should be against Google ads policies. And to date, more than 3 weeks in, Kamala Harris hasn't given a single interview. She hasn't come on your program. She's not answering questions.
It's
She's not
Kamala,
giving
first
speeches.
of all. It's not Kamala. It's Kamala. And she's not yet the candidate. She's only been in office, only been a candidate for 3.5
She's been
weeks.
vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah, and Trump went a whole...
She's aided and abetted by mainstream media. If you saw the headline by a neighboring network a couple weeks ago, days ago, when Donald Trump came out with his no taxes on tips policy, all of the headlines on mainstream media were derogatory. Kamala Harris comes out with her no taxes.
Kamala
Harris comes out with her policies on no taxes on tips, which is Donald Trump's policy, by the way. All of the headlines on mainstream media were positive and glorious and thoughtful.
I guess y'all are standing up for him because he didn't say any of this today.
Well,
everything you're saying
this
is
a
nothing he's
question.
ever said.
One of the things that we learned about her policy that she's going to roll out is support for a ban.
All right, that's enough of that. I don't want to play the whole thing here, right? So you can go over to Pink Book Lessons and watch the whole video there, and all that. So my point is that after all that, this woman sits up in Congress, with screenshots of this guy and all that. So you fight with this woman, and which, okay, there's nothing wrong with a little banter back and forth. She got a little fire, I got a little fire. But then you send her this thing, man. So you guys, if there's any men out here watching, got to be careful about that. Anybody wants to come back up, you can come back up. I just wanted to do that. Yeah. So Michael Eric Dyson. Yeah. Michael Eric Dyson, who's written, I think I have 3 books in his about Malcolm X alone. Maybe 2 books, maybe 2 or 3 books about him writing about Malcolm. One time I bought the book. I'm like, you already wrote about Malcolm X. Why are you writing? So yeah. yeah. So must be socialized and taught to pursue equality, women, and must carry themselves. So that's Miss Pink Book Lesson there. So anybody wants to come back up, you certainly can. I think it's still the link is still in the chat there at the top. So come back up if you please. Let's see that part. Human history, there has always been kind to women, when you marry and when you don't. Human history, there has always been two kind of women, one you marry and I guess one you don't. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that. I consider a high value man to be one who's honest, loyal, romantic, kind, and hardworking. If arrogance, narcissism, aggressive, loud tones, I'm assuming you're saying that he's not. Yes. Say it 100%. My girl Les, the Amber Rose types will always be around for sexual purposes. Very true, Victorious. Agreed. All those kind of women are single. I consider soft. Let's see, romantic. One, arrogance, narcissism, aggressive tones creep in. Gotta go soft. A soft life equals a nice life. Ladies, your money does not increase your value. Men could care less. If you really want the truth, they would rather have the chick at McDonald's. I think that my girl is really kind of speaking something. I know it seems some ways, and it really comes down to attitude, right? If your money comes with attitude, just like somebody said about the men, right? What you consider to be a nice guy and hardworking and all this, but once this attitude starts to go off, right? Arrogance, narcissism, aggressive, and tonto, his money and all this other stuff, it's not going to mean anything, right? Same thing with men, right? Same thing with men. Let's see. Men have always had space for low-hanging fruit. Men treat them as placeholders until they find a woman who will tolerate them or keep them on the side. I got a call, so I had to drop down. Okay, no problem. Listen, you guys can always come back up. Either I just want to play that Glorious Love, or My Girl's Been in Here, or anyone else. The link is in the chat. Just click on it, and I will let you in. Let's see. I do have another video. I watched it, and I want to get you guys' opinion about it. I just watched it right after I watched a little bit of Auntie Anita. White guys always jumping in my DMs on Facebook. Listen, everybody's jumping in everybody's DMs. Everybody jumps in everybody's DMs. Listen, everybody jumps in everybody's DMs. So I think black women need to open up their options. He's a fool. Why do some black men desperately seek the approval of white women, especially ones like her? They'll stab them in the front every time. Many of us black women work or have worked with them. Listen, I don't know why he did that, man. I don't know. He really, that was a move by Michael Eric Dyson of somebody who doesn't understand the red pill, what's going on today. That was an amateur move. That move would have worked 40 years ago when you think that you can, call somebody up or whatever and just meet somebody, but they're screenshotting people. I put pictures up just trying to tell guys not to do this type of stuff. So that what he did, I had a friend one time call me up. He's like, yo, man, I said something, man. He's like, I said something, man. I don't know, what should I do about it? He called me in a panic. I'm like, man, first of all, calm down. I mean, it's out there now. What he did was bad. It was worse than what Michael Eric Dyson did. It was worse. It was worse than that. I mean, he really could have caused some serious damage. I mean, Michael Eric Dyson's going to be embarrassed, but what my friend did was bad. It was bad. It was fight, people get hurt, do something and we can get you fired, bad. So any man out there listening, you really, really have to be very cautious about what you put in text message, WhatsApp messages. You really got to be very careful about that. I do not tell men what I do when I first meet them. A man will always crumble your cookie into crumbs if you allow him. Remember, he has no value. Why aren't we talking about the abhorrent behavior of men? I don't know if that was before or after, but we're just talking about it right now, right? Michael Eric Dyson, clever girl. And listen, I was pulling up some stuff. I'm not going to show it, but I got like 5 videos coming out about men. So listen, men get the smoke too from me. So, and what I was going to say before is, channels like these, but don't put me in those categories because I'm not in those categories. I'm not in those categories. I give the smoke to the men and to the women. And if it was up to me, I would give more smoke to men. So when women ask me questions about men and whatever, and if they don't ask, that's where my content's going. I got like 5 videos. I'm trying to find my videos. I got like 5 videos coming up. Maybe more than that. Let me count the videos I had coming to men. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen here. Present screen. Let me see if I can share screen. Let me show the window. I don't need the sound here. Share. All right, so here's a bunch of videos I got. You secretly want relationships, poly interracial relationships. Men don't fall for sign language. Men learn to vet these ladies. Men still not dating with intention. Why can't some 35-year-old men get it together? To the good girls, hold your ground, right? All this teaching boys not to be predators. So I got a lot of smoke for men. So when you're talking about me, understand I come for the men because I believe that you got to, in order to fix what's going on, you got to fix the men. Those are just some of the ones that are coming up in the next few weeks. So I got one dropping tomorrow morning about men. Yeah, why men left the church is another one I got coming up. So I got a lot of smoke for men. Let's see, but clever. That's not what I want or desire. I don't know what that means. Immature men can always be real dogs. Mature men respect women. New York, black women understand the assignment. We don't understand. We understand we're made for black men. However, they seem to think that they're for everybody, and to make sure that the men don't want us, they campaign for it. All right, so I got one more video that I think I'm going to play. This one I got from Auntie Anita's channel, and we'll end off with this one. And this is about the age gap dating. I did this about age gap dating. So I did a video about age gap dating, and I want to hear you guys' complaints about it. First of all, well, I want to hear you guys' complaints, and I'll tell you what this guy I believe is a pastor. So we will see what he has to say about age gap dating.
and a 25-year-old have in common besides their genitalia? A 45-year-old guy can't find a 40-year-old woman? A 38-year-old? Hey, bro. And we all know what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like the guy has hit his midlife crisis. His first marriage didn't work. And then I'm going to re-up and show you that I still got it. And so I get the pretty young thing. I ain't got nothing in common with her. We don't have no shared experience from our generation. But she likes my money. She don't even like you. She likes your money. And so the woman wants stability. So she sacrifices connectivity with somebody that she can relate with for stability and comfort. Because the older man is already financially secure. She just needs a dad. And because she didn't have that, what do a 45-year-old and a 25-year-old have in common besides their genitalia?
And you guys heard it. He keeps going on about that. I'm going to tell you what I heard. All I heard was shame. All I heard was shaming language. So men have generally gone after younger women. If he is a pastor, I'm pretty sure, I'm 90% sure that he is a pastor, then he would understand that age gap dating has always been a thing. Mary, the mother of Jesus, was approximately 15 to 16 years old, and we're basing that on the time period of what it was, and the husband Joseph was approximately 35 years old, because that's when men made it. That's when men make it today in 2024. So they always looked for something older. So a 45-year-old guy, whether he's been through a divorce or maybe it's his first time, if he has his choice and he wants to be married and he wants to have children, is going to choose somebody younger. He's not going to be looking for a 40-year-old woman. Generally. Now I'm a little bit older. I'm 51. I don't want a 25-year-old woman. I don't want to. I mean, the youngest, I think I said this before. I think 51, 38, 39, 40. That would probably be my youngest I would go, because I happen to believe some of what he was saying. Right, the experience. Right, I want somebody who listens to the same type of music I do, who's not always on their cell phone. So that's important to me. But if you're not looking for that, if you can deal with that other stuff, then I don't think there's anything wrong with dating someone in particular that young, especially if you want to have children. But if you don't, then don't shame. But the biggest problem I have is, don't shame these men and attack them and say that they're low value and that they're this and that they're that, and you don't have anything else. You can't find a 40-year-old woman. What if you don't want that because of his stage and place in life? Some people want that. Some people don't. I personally wouldn't want that. I personally wouldn't want, a 29-year-old girl. I personally wouldn't want that. So that's my thoughts. Right. But I don't particularly like the shaming language that he's doing. A grown man this highlight right here, right? A grown man worrying about what another grown man is doing with his time, dime, and genitalia is highly suspect. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, why are you talking about? It's shaming language, right? And if you're a pastor of a church and you are trying to get your 40-year-old ladies married, and you think that you're going to shame these 45 and 50-year-old guys into doing it by shaming them, that's not gonna work, brother. That's not gonna work. 20-year age gap can work, but it totally depends on the people, the maturity levels, and other factors. One size does not fit all, but I'm biased. I prefer older men. So yeah, some women prefer older men, right? My experience, they have been more chivalrous, more like-minded with goals and interests, right? So yeah, that's why I don't like what he did there. Consider a man that wants kids, but the woman his age already doesn't want more children, can skew you to younger women, right? Exactly. So if you want to have kids and the woman you have doesn't want to have kids, then that's gonna limit your dating pool. You're going to go younger because you want kids. That's why it would be behoove women to vet more costly and have children by men who they marry. It's really hard to find a woman who would put her man's well-being above her children. Okay, so you guys can go over to Better Love Movement, Miss Auntie Anita, and read those comments if you like. But that's just my thoughts about it, right? So, but I don't appreciate the shame. What's wrong with you? You can't get it. You're going through a midlife crisis. Okay, brother. Okay. All right, let's get back to some of these comments here, and I will let you guys go. Dyson is a fool. He was on the live attempting to defend himself. Sad. Yeah, he should have just kept his mouth shut. Sometimes you just got to take that L. Sometimes you just got to do it. But there are a lot of men content. Yeah, I know that they don't. I recognize that, Glorious Love. I recognize that. And remember, I started this channel because I started this channel because I want to talk about my doctorate journey. Nobody was listening to that. So I switched to self-improvement. And I've always said that if we want to improve anything, the men have to be first. The men have to choose better. The men have to level up. The men have to improve their game, their muscle, their life experience. Men have to be. You have to become something that's more approachable and more valuable. You have to do that. Again, if anybody wants to come back up, they can. But you have to do that as men. And I agree with Clever said that eventually the women will get in line. Some women will. Anyway, the thing that needs to happen is that Black women need to be less available to Black women. We date almost exclusively. I don't know how true that is. I haven't looked. There are a lot of people who look at the numbers. The dating apps are one of the biggest indicators of who is being selected, and it's not Black women. And I'm not saying that as any type of gloat or anything, but they're just not. So if you have experience going overseas, I don't discount anybody's experience, and you may have been hit on. And again, were you being hit on for fun purposes, or are you being hit on for marriages? Clearly, it's happening. But is it happening to the same extent that it's happening with men who go overseas? Men of any race go overseas. I don't know. That's pretty much doing. That's a sad man. Women should date for financial stability, and if you're going to date for financial stability, that's going to mean that you're going to date. That's an interesting statement there, Clever Girl. If you're still here, women should date for financial stability. Should date or they should marry. If you're going to marry for financial stability, then you got to. And somebody asked me to do a show about this, and I'm going to do one about this, about women and what they should be dating for: marriage, stability, finances, and this Disneyfication. This Disneyfication, I think that's Kevin Samuel's term, of love and romance. These are all new concepts and terms. Before, when men, quote unquote, were the prize, the 1940s, 1930s, it was financial stability. Here's a guy with a job. You go to the church. Here's sister so-and-so. She don't have a husband. Here's this guy over here. He's got a job. He works at the factory. He works at the plant. He works for Ford. He works at the docks. He works in the mine. He's got a good steady 9 to 5. That made him the prize. So we hook up sister so-and-so with this guy. And so now you dated for financial stability. Now it's about romance. You got to send, and I did a show about this. It's coming up. It's coming up. But you got to have romance. You got to have this game, and you got to text all day and all this romance crap. That's a lot of that is problematic. A lot of that is problematic and causing this more delusion. People don't like inside their self. The biggest competition for a young man is an older man. That's true. That's true. That's true, because a younger guy is probably not established. They only saw the bullcrap. They only say that bullcrap to Black women. Don't listen to them. Put yourself in the best possible financial position you can. Make sure the guy is decent too. Not sure what bullcrap that is, but I'm probably missing some stuff here. True indeed, sis. Happy for you. Date out. 40-plus-year-old men seeking 18 to 29-year-olds, predatory behavior, and screams insecurity and low. Why? Why does it scream low self-esteem? And what? Just like somebody said before. If you're dating and marrying for financial stability, are you going to get that from 18 to 29-year-old, or is the peak financial year is 35 and older for men? So why is it predatory? And that's the type of shaming language that men are sick of. They're just like, I don't have to date. Why do I have to do that? Why is it predatory? It's always been this way. So now, in since the Industrial Revolution, it's changed. Since the technological revolution, it's changed. Biologically, we still want the same things, especially if you want children. I'm not gonna date anybody with, and the 18 to 29-year-old. That is the exact, precise, best years to have a baby, according to science. Actually, I think it's from 17 to 29. I'm pretty sure it's 17 to 29 are the best years physically for a woman to have a baby. So if it's 17 to 29, or we go here 18 to 29, why, from a biological perspective, why would it be absurd for a 40-year-old man who's now established? Think about, you can't really think about me, but think about me. So I was, even though I was married, right? So my financial career was, I became a police officer at 22. By the time I became a sergeant, I was 27. I made lieutenant at 30. I was 35, 36. I'm starting to hit a stride, right? I'm making more money, even though I was already married. I already had kids. But from a financial perspective, not just me. What if you work in tech or you work at someplace else, right? As a guy, by the time you hit your stride, start making promotions, start figuring out what you're doing, you're 35. So if you're going to date for this, you can't. Why is it called predatory? So now, as a 35-year-old guy, let's just say I wasn't married, or the 35-year-old guy who works in tech, now he's made it, right? He's 35, he's made it, he's been glossed over. The women haven't looked at him because he wasn't financially viable until he's 35. Now he wants to have children. So you want him to get it with a 33-year-old? I notice this sounds harsh. I know it does. Did you want him to get a 33-year-old who can be given maybe one, pushing two, and hopefully there's nothing wrong? Or does he get with the 25-year-old, the 35-year-old get with the 25-year-old because he can give him more children and she'll be younger to run around the house and all that kind of stuff? It only makes sense. But to shame people for that, I just don't see that. Yeah, it it was, but everybody not called to date older men. Why in the world situation would you want to do that? Why can't women date younger, not 20s, 30s, but 5 to 10 years? I mean, we did a show about that. I mean, you certainly can, but if you want to have children, okay, but you got to, again, the financial aspect of it is to me would be the issue. And that's not a shaming tactic. It's okay. Can this guy, let's just say you're 30, you're going to date somebody who's 25. Is he financially stable? Is that going to get tiring from you? Or are you going to want to look at the guy that we looked at before, where you're going out to work and he's sleeping and playing video games all day? His maturity level, right? Most women want a man who is a leader, protector, and provider. Can a man who's younger than you lead you, protect you, provide you, be better than you, make you push you to be somebody different? Can he help you? What can he do for you? That's what I've heard my whole life. And you're saying that, not just you, high vibe, but anyone who's saying that, that's the dilemma that you have to solve. Can you be with a man who was lesser than you? Can you be with a man who's that? Lesser in age, lesser life experience. It's up to you. It's interesting how men would choose a young woman because this is what was done in the Bible history. Yeah, because it was history, because there's biological incentives for it. As we talked about Joseph in the Bible, Joseph was the example of what it took. You start as a carpenter, right? Joseph was a carpenter. Goat herders, whatever they were back at that time, however they made money, farmers. By the time you learned your father's trade, your father's craft, and by the time he died, you're 30 years old, 25, 30 years old. And by the time you take over the business, get things going, and now you're financially stable, what's the other term I want to use? Not only financially stable, but financially attractive to women. Now that you're the man now. So that was Joseph. So now he's ready to marry. Now he is. And so he should get with, again, if Joseph's 30, 35, he should get with somebody his age, or is he going to get the youngest woman who's going to be able to give him some more kids so he can get these kids and raise them so they can take over the farm, take over the family butchering business, the family husbandry business. He can take over the carpentry business. That was the purpose of it. This love and romance and singing songs, writing poetry, even though there are poets that did all that kind of stuff who love their women and all that, but we get confused, and we think that because times have changed, because technology has changed, and because women are not entering the workforce, that changes the interdynamics of men. Just like Glorious was in here talking about, women are sometimes they're just confused about what men. You're just confused about what men want. Just because you've entered the workforce doesn't mean that men are any more attracted to that. I'm sorry to put this so bluntly, but there's still this confusion that's going on here. And the men of the biblical times, or the 1940s and the 1820s, are the same men. They really are. You may have changed, and you want men to change, but you want us to change. If we change, we're going to change it to the guy I played at the beginning. Because men need to protect, provide, and be contributors to society. So if you want that type of man's got to put in work. He's got to go get a college education. He's got to learn a skill, a trade, a craft. And by the time he's mastered that skill, trade, craft, moved up in his job, he's 35, 40 years old. And by the time he's now financially viable, he's more than likely not going to look at a woman who is roughly in the same age bracket. He's going to look for a younger woman who's got more nurturing skills, who can raise his children. These are just generalities. Are there exceptions to it? Of course. Of course there are exceptions to it. I've talked about this at length many a times. There's still this confusion going on out here about that. I don't know why that is. I think that there's just a refusal to believe that men want something different than when women continue to think that men are dating the way that they would date. You want a man who's on his game. You want a man who's highly valuable within society. That's what you want for your men. And nobody's saying that that's wrong. So men ought to go out there and become that. But that doesn't mean that's what the men want. It just isn't. Some men will go for that. Absolutely. I didn't hear shaming. You probably took it as a offense because it probably was a correction and was a warning. Many men are losing. And let's not forget that. No, there was definitely shaming in that. There was definitely shaming in that. Absolutely shaming. Shaming language. What does he have to lose? Well, I'll play it again. So you try to listen for the shaming language.
Year-old
Definitely shaming.
And a 25-year-old have in common besides their genitalia?
That's it right there. That's it right there. What do you have in that's shaming language, right? What do you have? You don't have nothing to talk about. That's shaming language.
A 45-year-old guy can't find a 40-year-old woman?
That's shaming language. You can't find what's wrong with you. That's shaming language. I don't need to play it all over again. It's shaming language. I think the issue was two decades age difference. I've explained that ad nauseum. It's all right for women to date someone. It's all right for a woman to date someone 10 to 20 years younger than them too. Women want kids too. It's all right for women to date someone 10 to 20 years younger than them too. Women want kids too. A woman who's 40 is dating a 20-year-old. How many kids? Come on, clever girl. You got you. I know you're smarter than that. You're 40 years old. Now you're going to start having kids, right? In geriatric pregnancy, which begins at 33, 34. Geriatric pregnancy. You're going to pump out a bunch of kids. Okay. This is where feminism is just going off the rails. You can move and operate the way that men can. Okay. All right. It's shaming language because it's shameful. 25-year-old women don't generally desire 45-year-old men. I don't think that's true. Well, Jenna, you said genuinely. It's transactional and predatory. It's not. It's marriage has always been transactional. Marriage has always been transactional. Marriage has always been transactional.
It's not.
Always been transactional. It is only recently with chivalry that love and all this kind of stuff is coming to the picture. But it's always been transactional. What? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I disagree. Hold on, let me close the door. My dog came in here again. My grandfather was very much in love with my grandmother. And so back in the 60s when certain people were going on what do you call it? The government programs for food and housing. My grandfather didn't do that, but he was terribly in love with his wife, my grandmother, because she was fine. She really was. But
Hold on. Before you continue on, I'm not saying that there was no love involved. That's transactional doesn't mean that there was no love involved. Of course, people grew to love each other.
Mm-hmm.
In arranged marriages, which are completely 100% transactional, you give a dowry, give you a woman, they grow to love each other.
We don't do that anymore, sir.
I understand that. But my point is that this was the foundation of what marriage was. It is no longer like that today. But marriage in biblical times, in other cultures, has always been transactional. And if you didn't have any money as a man, you didn't get a woman. It doesn't matter how much matter how much love you had. That was irrelevant.
That's not true for the Black community. I disagree.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
Yeah, again, for the Black community, I think we have different experiences. So there are some Black men who can get love from Black women from the beginning of time up to now who didn't have a lot of resources. And y'all keep talking about hypergamous women. That's part of it as well, I guess. I don't know. But also, again, we don't do that anymore. So it's time for men to change at least change the understanding of how pairing with a woman is doing. Because you keep saying it's okay for a guy to get with a younger woman. And it is to a certain point. My husband's actually 10 years older than me. Hold on, mama. There you go. But when you get a little bit older than that, it doesn't work as well. And so also Black men date out the most as far as when it comes to a race of man, but they also get divorced the most. So they also get divorced from Black women and other women of other races more than any other race of man. So there's something not quite right going on with the way we come about. The way we come about getting into relationships. And y'all keep trying to tell us this bull crap about women should not date for financial stability. Of course we should. Because first of all, you keep saying women have the babies. And if women do have the babies and they have to get out of the work environment for any amount of time, you need to make sure the person you're married to or the person you're having the baby with can support you financially and your children. And you also have to think about generational wealth, which we don't have.
Okay, so y'all keep saying this. So you said at least twice.
Okay.
I don't talk like that. So I don't. When you say y'all keep talking, I see you're including me in that, but you've never heard me say any of these statements you're saying.
I'm not talking about you, and I'm not talking about you specifically.
Right.
I'm about me.
Okay. To anyone, somebody else asked where it might have been you. Where's the link at? The link is in the chat. Anybody else can come up. Go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so women do have to take these certain things into account. They have to take it into account for their families. But again, Black women don't get the same treatment because we don't have socioeconomic wealth in our communities. We don't have the businesses. We don't have the hospitals. We don't have the schools. We don't have banks. We don't have all of this stuff in a certain. We don't have these things in Black communities. So if I wanted to find a Black bank or a Black business, I would have to drive around my whole state to find these things where Asian people have them, white people have them, Hispanic people have them, but we don't get the same treatment. We also don't get the same protections that other races of women get. So we're pretty much out here right next to y'all, working as hard as y'all are, doing the same things without the same protections that other women get. Because go into a chat room with white men and talk about white women as a black man. Anybody black go into a white chat room and talk about a white woman to see if you don't get a beat down. Go into a white neighborhood and see if you don't get checked out in the first few minutes. Go into an Asian room and do that. Go into a Hispanic room. The only people you can dog out on the internet is a black woman. That's it. So we don't get any kind of protections. It's insane. I don't understand why the black community. I think I do understand it. I think I understand that black men want to make sure that they limit our ability to go out into the world and get a different experience with a different kind of man. And so they make us look like the most unattractive, the most person with the attitude. Have you look at some passionate Latino woman or look at a Karen on the internet. We don't have the worst attitudes. We do have attitudes, but we also have to deal with the world different than anybody else. We're not shielded from racism. We're not shielded from violence from our men and from other races. We're not shielded from our children are sent from the classroom. The boys are sent from the classroom to the prison pipeline. It's a whole bunch of stuff coming at us all the time. It's hard being a black woman in this world. It was hard being a black police officer. When I tell you the sexual harassment I had to deal with at work, and black men would just turn their they would turn their head the other way, like they didn't care. I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I wasn't the friendliest. I was professional, and I'm pretty much a stoic person. So I'll say hi and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna chit chat with you and talk gossip with you or put somebody else down. That was never my thing. But and it made a lot of people mad. And I also had a stay-at-home husband for 10 years, so a lot of people couldn't. I shouldn't have told nobody that, but I was so happy we could do it because we are very blessed. We get to do stuff that other people don't get to do. But it's because I have an amazing husband who's good at being a husband. He's good at being a financial. Taking care of the finances. He's good at taking care of me. He's good at taking care of the house. He's good at taking care of the cars. He makes sure our money is right. So we don't have separate bank accounts because I can trust him. So I don't think a lot of women get that same opportunity that I have. I'm very blessed and I understand that. But again, black women get different treatment in this world than anybody else. And I don't think men understand that. And so when y'all say y'all don't like our weaves and our wigs and stuff like that, every other race of woman wear wigs and weaves. So there was a video where a black man was saying he doesn't have to buy wigs and weaves for his wife, so he saved $200 a month or something like that. And I was like, yeah, but she got Botox, she got injections, she got fillers. They do white people do more plastic surgery than anybody else in this country. It's like 3 out of 4 Caucasians get plastic surgery. So it's like y'all, and they dye their hair all the time, but and they wear fake lashes, they wear fake tans, they wear all this other stuff. But y'all like black women need to be natural. And it's like, why do we get a different treatment than y'all do? Especially since y'all say y'all like women to look a certain way. So black women are trying to look a certain way for y'all. But black women also date exclusively black. We date exclusively black men if heterosexual people do. However, I'm just like I said, I'm happily married. I got an amazing husband, amazing black husband. But if I had to do it again, if I was in the dating world right now in this horrible dating environment, I would open my options up to everybody in other countries. So when my husband was in Japan, he sent me a ticket to come, round trip ticket to come see him. And I mean, nobody would think I had value, but he did. So my husband thinks I was amazing. So he did that for me. And I'm nobody special. So this is what can happen to any woman that finds the right guy who values them. So y'all keep telling us we're not of value, but I just think
I think that you're on respectful. I think you're taking a lot of things that I'm saying and conflating it with other people, and I'm trying to put it in a different way. So I want to answer a couple of these questions here before I forget. Romance is problematic. What do you mean? So
right.
here
Okay, we like romance. I'm sorry, we love romance.
I know that. I understand that. I understand that this is the Disneyfication of things, right? The Snow White laying down, the Prince Charming is going to come. I understand that. I'm not saying it's wrong or bad. I said that there's a whole book in the Bible about romance.
Solomon.
Yeah, listen, I get it. I'm not saying that is I'm not saying, I don't think I said it's problematic. What I'm saying is that it can cause a problematic mindset when you think that this is all that what it is. You said that, and I agree with the statement that, what did you say? Men, women ought to date for financial interests, and I said that they should. Listen, I agree with that. They should. The most important thing you should have is financial interest, and that should come secondary to romance. So first thing you ought to date for is finances.
I don't know
Right?
if that's number one thing, but it's
All right. Well, let me just get my statement out here. Here's what I think. I think if you find yourself dating for financial stability first, right? Because the intention of, you keep going back to the experience of America's black women and black men. But there's other experiences, and marriage didn't start at that time. We have traditionally been excluded, and all these different stuff happened to us, which I understand, know about, and acknowledge and agree. But can we move past that? And if we are going to move past that and to establish the financial wealth and considerations that you brought up, then the first thing we have to do is look at how our dating and mating selections. Our mating and dating selections today are jacked up because we're dating for the wrong things. We're dating for how the guy looks. How tall is he? How does he have dreads? All this atavistic stuff that doesn't translate into the financial wealth building of someone else. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, you want to be attracted to your man. Yeah, you want your man to write you love letters and to do romantic gestures. Those types of things can come after you have secured and make sure that he is financially viable. And that is a big problem that is going on within the community, is that we're not dating primarily for that particular purpose. That's that. So there's another question. Go ahead. What's that?
It's not a lot of black men to make a lot of money, and so once you get outside,
listen, that has been debunked. So Kevin Samuels and Medium Man have debunked that myth a number of times.
Medium Man actually put up there that the average black man makes about $50,000. That's up,
and that's still $20,000. That's still, well, I don't know what the exact, but that's still more. That's still more than what the black woman is making. So you're still arguing about stuff. They're still arguing about stuff that is so secondary. If we could get together and just stop looking at this craziness about how much money they're making and all this. And yes, you should date for financial stability and go somewhere else and be able to move ahead, because marriage does propel and does increase financial wealth and literacy. But as long as you're looking at, oh, this guy only makes 50,000. I can't do anything with that. That's an atavistic, animalistic type of environment that you're putting these people in, and it's causing exactly what I played with a woman who was sitting in the back row. Just have 5 different guys, or whatever number she said. Just have a bunch of different guys. That is polluting the thinking of women who would be much valuable. And this woman says, listen, and the first woman in the video said, I'm starting to understand that guys, the kind of guy that I want don't really want me, and that he's the prize. That we have to shift the way that we're thinking. And if we want to build financial wealth, we want to build Wall Street, you got to build it with people who can build it. You can't build it with people who are just sleeping with the people who are wearing the bonnets. You can't build it with the guy who's sitting there, who's sleeping all day and not doing anything with his children at night. You can't build with those types of men. But a guy who's on his game, on his grind, a guy, as somebody wrote in the chat, found a millionaire and married him in college and all that. So those are the types of things that we got to change. The way our mating and dating strategies, and that's what has been destroyed. So that's that part. So I want to get to another question, then I'll because I don't want to forget about these because they asked a question. And this goes down a little bit here to. Yeah, all these questions, I was 39, I know 41. Oh, okay, you guys, okay. Do what you want. I'm telling people I have the best. There's 16, 7-year-olds who have babies too. You want to wait that long? Somebody asked a question about. Somebody said answer the question. Something about 20, 25, and 30-year-old. Something about don't mean answer the question. What does a 25 and 45-year-old have in common? I agree with you that it's nothing. I agree. In 2024, it's nothing, but that doesn't change the biological imperative, or it could be nothing. It doesn't change the biological imperative that the men have. So you want men to change their biological imperative and say, I don't want to date younger. And this isn't true of all men. I told you, I'm not one. If it was a 40-year-old woman or a 25-year-old woman, and they both look equally good, I'm choosing a 40-year-old woman all day. But that's me. But other people, yeah, and of course, I'm not an anomaly in that, of course.
No, I'm saying making contrary statements. You're like, do you want to get somebody young and you can have babies with, or do you want somebody a little bit older, 40-year-old?
No, I'm not. My statements are not contradictory. I'm saying for what I want. I have kids. I don't want any more kids. So a 40-year-old woman is perfect for me. A 45-year-old man who doesn't have kids, who finally has established himself, may want children, and so therefore a 25-year-old woman would be, especially if he wants to have multiple kids. That's not a contradictory statement at all.
You can do that with a 30-year-old, 35-year-old, 40-year-old.
But it's geriatric pregnancies where there's more problematic things that can come along.
It's already problematic for Black women to have babies in this country because we don't have hospitals and doctors who cater to our specific needs.
It's kind of dangerous.
It's very dangerous. Black women die more than anybody else in this country when it comes to
which is something we need to do something about. Go ahead, Smart Singer. You got it.
I don't know. You said a lot of things. But it strikes me that you have this idea of what romance is, which is like flowers and cards and all this other stuff. And it's really more of acts of service and like paying attention to the actual person and giving them what they need, not necessarily what they want. And that goes both ways. That's the romance. That's what ties the connection. That's all of those things, protection and provision, and that's romantic. My grandfather did it for 54 years. Okay, so
so if you thought that if somebody brings up to you an idea of romance, is that what comes to your mind?
No.
Or to other general people's mind when they ask them what is romance? What would you?
Disney doesn't come to mind. What comes to mind is when I was in college and the gentleman that I was dating, he would drive 45 minutes to come see me. And when he would stop at the gas stop to fill up, he'd call me and say, I'm at the gas station. You want anything? I'm walking down aisle 1. You want anything? And I'm not talking about like, exuberant gifts, extravagant gifts. Like a just to be thought of. But what I'm saying to you is that it's the difference between you telling somebody I'm allergic to fish, and because they want to impress you so much, they take you to the most expensive fish restaurant and think it's okay that you can order a steak, not knowing that just being around fish will mess you up. It's paying attention. It's paying attention to little things. It's not money.
What she said.
Okay, so
it's time and attention. That is the problem. I don't know how many times I've been out on a date and the guy has talked incessantly about himself and never asked me a question about myself. I don't care if we was in McDonald's. That stuff turns me off. I don't care if we was in Houston's. That turns me off. I don't care what amount of nothing. If you're not paying attention to me and you just think I'm an object, a thing, that's a problem. It's dehumanizing.
Okay, so let me just interject here. So I don't know what. Listen, this is what I'm saying. The whole dating game is all messed up. It sounds to me like you're just describing common courtesy. And that's I'm going to tell you, when I was married twice, and their ideas of romance was flowers, was rose petals, leading up the steps. I'm not joking with you. I'm not kidding with you.
I believe you, and I'm sorry that you experienced that.
But it wasn't just me. These are
I'm
conversations
just
that I
saying.
have
I'm
with
just
people
saying
on TV.
for any man that's experienced. I'm sorry that they experienced that. However, that's what leads to taking people for granted.
It absolutely did. It absolutely did.
My husband for granted. I do.
So it absolutely did. And after a while, it's like, listen, I'm not doing this anymore. So to the point that you just made, Smart, I totally agree with you. Listen, every time, there's not a time I ever went into a grocery store and then call or text and say, I'm at the store. You want something? You want something? Never. And somebody wrote in the comment section, oh, we should talk to your ex. Talk to him. Talk to him. They would talk to him. Please talk to him. You think I'll be on the internet talking about this? So I'm saying, hold on, let me just say this. So I'm saying,
okay,
I don't know what is going on with these dudes today. I can't imagine going to a store, coming home from, I'm stopping at Subway, McDonald's, just walking in the house, eating, and not offering you some. I don't understand. So if this is what's going on, and that this different kinds of acts of service, and not getting your car done, and not this, that, I don't know what that world is. I'm telling you the stuff that I experienced, and the people that I talked to, my friends, the church that I went to, and from the PD that I worked at, they wanted the moon. And if I want red flowers and you bought me white, I want red flowers. I want you white flowers. I would just bring them a box of chocolate. Hey, listen, I was at the store. Hey, I just bought you a box of chocolate. I don't like these kind of chocolates. Throwing them at me.
Let me tell you that that's not like I don't like red flag. I don't like performative stuff.
Right.
I don't like that.
Right.
And if you're with somebody that really pays attention, they're not gonna like that stuff either.
They'll figure you out. They'll figure out what you like and then get it for you. Like, I like Record Road ice cream. So if it's
Exactly.
So they should pay attention.
You can't even find it. Or where is it at?
So Smart Sonia says here something about oh, here it is. I want to get to this. That's shaming language, big. It's okay for men to be geriatric age to become parents. It's not the same for men and women. Now, do I recommend? This is why I want to have kids. I'm 50 years old. I'm not running around with a 2-year-old. I think that's crazy. But the geriatric pregnancy is the what happens to you physically when you're going through it. It's not. I didn't make it up. I'm not a doctor. I didn't make up these terms. Somebody else did. And I'm not trying to shame women into saying you can't have a kid. Listen, if you waited and you're 35 years old and you did the right thing, and you want to give some Pookie, some Ray Ray, some baby, and now you get married at 35, 36, 39, 41, and you want to have a kid, I truly hope that you have the best experience and you can give them multiple kids. I'm just saying it's not ideal. And I'm saying to a guy, he may, and he is in his right not to be shamed to say, I want somebody who's not going to have the risks and bring a child into the world to a health and safety risk to my spouse. It decreases the health and safety risk to the spouse and decreases the chances of anything going on neurologically with the baby. If I wanted that? That's the way I would think. And it's not
right.
wrong.
And to backtrack on Clever Girl's point, that's why sometimes it's better if a woman that's 35 and she still wants to have kids, get with somebody younger.
Oh, that's another thing you said.
That doesn't make any
It's
sense,
easier,
though.
It's easier. It's because it's not just their egg, it's the sperm as well. And it's easier to get pregnant and to have a healthier baby with a younger person than an older person.
Those studies are not as conclusive as people think that they are. They're not. I've read them.
I'm not saying that I'm an expert. I'm just telling you what I know.
Yeah.
I understand that. But somebody went on Kevin Samuel's show talking about that. I've read the studies. Are there? Yes. And is a physically healthy 60-year-old man, his sperm, can he produce better swimmers? Yes. Than a 60-year-old. out of shape guy who smokes, yes, absolutely. But if you're, but it's not the same for a 35-year-old woman versus the 23-year-old woman. It's just not.
Look up that blue pill and why guys
it's not, but it's the onus isn't just on the woman. Right. That's the whole thing. Yeah. It's the same reason why we don't determine the sex of the baby. There's a lot of different things.
Yeah,
so
they got bad bags and they can't run after the kids, girl.
That's why I don't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it either.
Or just the fact that that an older man might not want to have sex as much.
Right.
Just that simple fact. And if you want to have a baby, you got to have sex.
Well, that's usually the way.
All right.
Take pills now.
Yeah. The red pill exposed itself, but it left a big damage. Trust in men affected. Yeah, and it's silent. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think y'all should say y'all like younger women, and I think it's not that. I can understand why y'all like younger women. I can see it. I do get it, especially since they're a little bit more vulnerable to whatever you're gonna put out there for them. But younger guys look good to us too. We just don't go after them because there's, it's just something women don't do necessarily. But I'm gonna tell women now.
Y'all still got you. Listen, you can. I've said it. I said it on my show. I said you can go after anybody you want. You can go after anybody you want, but you as a woman have to deal with the psychosocial development of this guy. You got to deal. You got to. But women want a leader. Women want that.
Understood.
Most men are not looking for a leader. A competent man isn't going to want that. It's women saying this. So listen, I'm not saying you can't do it, shouldn't do it, or whatever. I'm just saying if you want a leader, protective provider, a guy who's on his game, a guy who's financially secure, all these different parameters that you have, are you going to get that in a guy who's 10, 20 years younger than you?
You can. There's not, you're not going to get everything. Go ahead.
Job like the job we did, there's a certain you get a certain amount of money for whatever rank you have, so you can do it depending on what type of job you have. And I don't think regular men understand that millionaires and billionaires marry women who go to college because they understand that the intelligence comes from the mother, and so you want somebody who's intelligent enough to teach your kids and grow your kids to a certain standard of living, because every generation should do better than the past generation. And so if you want to go to another country, third world country, where they don't have paved roads and all kinds of other infrastructure, that's fine. However, you can get this in first world countries. And like I said, Bill Gates married a college his woman who went to college. Mark Zuckerberg, they all do it. And then a lot of black athletes, when they find their white wives, they find them in college because they do their homework for them. That's what they were saying on the thing. They said the white women do the homework for them, but the black women, they don't have white people send their kids to college to find husbands. And so they daughters to college to find husbands. Black women, we don't get the same experience because we usually have to take out student loans and go ourselves. And so we don't have time to be doing somebody else's homework. We gotta do what we gotta do, and then also probably go work a job or something like that as well. So it's like I said, black women get a different experience because we don't have the same social. I keep saying socioeconomics, but yeah, we don't have the same socioeconomics that other people have. So if we get kicked out of an apartment, it's not owned by a black person. Or if we go to a hospital, it's not a black-owned hospital. Or if we go to a bank, it's normally not a black-owned bank. And I just looked this up. Hispanic people have more banks in this country than black people do. So we don't get the same experience. So y'all keep on.
But I think that's because we're not doing the foundational work correctly, and all of this needs to be. This is the point that I'm trying to say, is that we need to change. And as long as we're focused on the wrong stuff, then this is why it's going to continue to go down the wrong down the wrong hole.
So men need to be set up a certain way. Well, back in the 60s and before the 60s, y'all had businesses, and we had Black Wall Street and stuff like that because we had to. But the average new black man, modern black men don't think like that. Y'all think individually instead of socially. And so this is, again, it's why we don't get the same experience because y'all don't provide the businesses. Y'all don't provide the money for lobbyists. Usually when you get a certain amount of wealth, it looks like, I don't know, I haven't done the studies though, but it looks like y'all marry another race of woman. And so when y'all get a decent amount of money, your wealth is either taken from you, and you can look at there's a book called The Whiteness of Wealth. I hope everybody read that book. It's really good. But there's also they've also done the studies that show black men who were in sports or music or something, 80-something% of them lose their wealth. And then if you marry somebody outside your race and you go to court, they're going to give that money to that woman. So it's real easy for us to lose our wealth and not keep it in this country because, first of all, we don't have socioeconomic wealth, and we don't have people in high places to help us keep it. And we don't make the laws because we don't understand tribalism as opposed to individualism.
Sure. So that, again, all of this is foundational work that would start with exactly what we talked about, is
with
getting
the men. The men need to do it.
Well,
I
think
agree
that
with that. Hold on. I
Okay.
agree with that. The men need to do whatever we need to do. And yes, if the white girls are doing the boys' college homework, then maybe the black girls ought to do it. If they're wifing them up, what's wrong? Well, there's obviously a problem with it, but somebody needs to do it, and so that qualifies them to become the spouse. Ebony K. Williams talked about when you go into school to get your MBA and your doctor's degree, get your MRS degree as well. She figured this out at 40 years old, and now she's going through all kind of stuff to have this baby, whatever she's doing, right? So she was able to figure this out. This idea that we have about staying apart and we just need to date out and we all need to do whatever. And listen, I'm saying that the men need to take control and take lead. I think it was a mistake. There were a lot of mistakes made after the 1960s as far as giving up our businesses and this, that, and the other, right? There was a lot of mistakes that were made, but now we have a place to change those mistakes and to change our mindset. And the mindset that we have today isn't about the conversations that we're all having. I think that we are passionate, as Sonia is saying, why am I yelling? So I can be very passionate at times, Miss Sonia S. So forgive me for yelling, but I certainly can be passionate because I want us to succeed collectively. So and the way that we have to do that, I've said it 100 times, I'll say it 100 times more. Men need to take the lead. Men need to change some things, and we need to get married and stay married, and stop being the first thing that we're looking for when we're dating and trying to get married is how tall the guy is and all this other stuff, and just see what kind of financial prowess that he have in the future. Yes, it is a close second to how he looks. But if it comes down to looks, or if it comes down to financial progress that you're going to make, you should take the financial progress. And if that is a disagreed upon fact, then that tells you right there why we aren't where we need to be financially.
Because we want handsome husbands we find attractive, or I'm 5'8". I need somebody taller than me. My husband's 6 foot. I'm not gonna date anybody.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. You don't have to be much taller. You just only have to be about 3 or 4 inches taller than the person you're dating. You don't even have to make much more money than them. You just have to make more money than them when you're dating them. And me and my husband's, our finances, he started out making more money when we first started dating. It went back and forth, and I ended up making more in the end. But he's not the kind of man that gets all upset about having an intelligent wife that makes a decent amount of money, because we've been able to do some importance. We've been able to do some incredible stuff. But a lot of men have that problem, and so why can't
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's certainly that problem as the woman making more. I think it's the woman making more plus the attitude. That's where I think it comes in. That's what I think, and that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen from you. You're in law enforcement. I went in these people's homes, like, right, telling them that's why I make more than you. This, that, and the other. Yeah, get out. I bought this house. This, I'm not. That's what I've seen, and that's what I'm hearing. So I don't know if it's simply that, especially if you are pushing your man to be right, because I think, and you said something before I wanted to address about the college education thing. Yes, I've never wanted a stupid woman. so I don't know anybody who does. So yes, get married in college. Married somebody who's doing whatever. And I pushed my I was married twice and I've had girlfriends. They all said to me, I've always said to them, go back to school. When I was going to get my master's degree, it's like, oh, I can't go because you're going. Why can't you go at the same time? The kids are they're teenagers. What are we talking about here? Just go back to school. So
you want no wife, or do you want a wife that goes to school?
Did I want a what kind of wife?
A traditional wife that stays home and takes care of
why
kids.
Why can't a traditional wife go to school? I don't understand that.
They do to go get the. That's not the traditional wife. I don't know what the definition of what your definition of is a traditional.
Yeah, my definition of a traditional wife is a woman whose primary concern is the home. That would be mine. But that don't take all day. You could still go to school. I don't understand why. Just because somebody wants a traditional wife doesn't mean he wants an uneducated wife. I've paid attention to this. I've never heard anyone in the red pill community say anything close to that. I've never heard it.
Y'all don't care about our education. Y'all don't.
We don't. Okay, here's what we mean. Here, I've explained this. How long you been listening to me? I've explained this numerous times. When a man says he doesn't care about your education and or finances or your degrees or whatever, or how much money you make, he's saying it doesn't benefit me. So in other words, if you go to school to get to some MBA and you go get a higher job, and if you're not going to kick in money to help us buy a new house, then how does your education benefit me? It doesn't.
Black women do chip in. We always chip in.
It doesn't. They're not paying any more bills. They're not. He doesn't pay. She doesn't pay any more bills. She's not. So that's what the argument is. So when you come off leading with, I go to school, I do this, I'm ahead of this company, but I'm the head of this company. I got a C-suite over here. I got an MBA. I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor. I do all this, but I still got to pay. But I still got to pay every single time we go on a date.
That's in the beginning.
Can I say something?
But
it's not in the beginning. It's not in the beginning.
Can I say something?
Hold on, Tamara. It's not. It's. You're breaking up a little bit, so we're kind of talking over each other. So I apologize for that. But it's the internet. So, but you're breaking up a little bit, so I couldn't hear you. So what's going on here is that it's not in the beginning. You think that it is, but I've talked to people who've said that their wives still don't do anything. Their wives work full 9-to-5 jobs, but they take care of 100% of the bills. They may be. They might be. Smart singer. Go ahead. You wanted to say something.
I mean, that's a very lofty thought. Because when you get married and life hits you, especially when the average that Black people make on both sides, women and men, is $50,000. Usually you both are going to have to contribute to the household, and God forbid something happen within the marriage that messes up the finances, whether somebody loses their job or they hurt themselves or anything like that. Sometimes it's going to have to be tipped on another side.
So are you saying that Black women get into a relationship or a marriage and they just keep all their money, or what are we saying?
I've heard that. I've heard that.
Black women no. Please tell me if y'all only pay like the light bill and maybe a grocery bill, or do y'all fully commit to paying the bills in the household? At least 50-50.
I know a lot of people that pay 50-50.
So
I have a female friend that carries the mortgage.
Okay.
So, you know, and she's not masculine at all.
Right.
So, you know, and they've been married for like what, 14 years now? So
Everybody's
it's
fighting
not
their
always like that though. I think that the thing about these podcasts and the manosphere and feminism and whatever everybody's talking about is they talk in hypotheticals. They never talk about real situations. They really do talk about well, say that this person did this and they did that, then how would you react? And then they talk about that for the next hour on their podcast.
OnlyFans girl. I don't know, because even when me and my husband first started dating, I was a strong, independent woman with my own job when I was in the military, and I would offer to pay. But the only thing is, and I'm glad he paid, because if he didn't, he would have been in the friend zone. But and I wasn't thinking like that back then. No, I wasn't thinking like that back then. I was thinking that I wanted to pay my own way, but he would just he would be just so charming that he would be like, you can get something later on. Like
but
that.
you're saying it without even saying it, that if he didn't do it, he would have been in the friend zone, because it's a turn off. Because if a man isn't displaying absolute masculine qualities, he's turned off. So therefore, he's going to do it.
It's not
your job.
It's not that he's not displaying it towards us. It's not about what we receive. It's just that we know that when men do not achieve what they want to achieve and they fall short, they feel really bad. And sometimes they take it out on you. It affects the relationship.
I agree with that. I think that men, that's why I talk to men and tell them to level up.
Men need to keep their pride and their ego. Like that's all women try to do, especially Black women, is keep their pride and their ego intact. We dance around that and we tiptoe around that on a regular basis.
I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm hard to deal with. I ain't gonna lie, I really am. You know, in the military, I was a K9 security police K9 handler, and I was a police officer as well. I got plenty of attitude, and I've been a tomboy my whole life. And usually the only person who can make me feel like, because usually I just walk around feeling like a person, and then something happens, so look at me funny. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a Black woman, or I'm a female, or something like that, and then I'll think about it. But usually I don't think about it, and so. My husband has a way of making me feel feminine. And so I appreciate that he does that, because the majority of the people I deal with, they don't make me feel like that. I just feel like a person walking through. Because when you're walking around, you're just looking out your eyes. You're not looking at yourself. You're looking out into And so
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah,
totally relate to that.
Who might feel feminine and be all up in their feminine energy all the time. I just never been that person. And I come from a family of women who like to argue, and so I'm the same way. I found that because I'm coming on these in the last, say, 3 weeks or so, I've been coming on the internet fussing with people on these shows.
I want to get in who just joined here, Glorious Love, and then I want to answer this question I got on here. But go ahead, Glorious Love.
Okay, I called back up. So I'm going to be real quick, but I just wanted to just to chime in, just to make sure that we're not generalizing. And that we should just kind of steer away from that, because I know that Big L, you don't speak for all men. We don't speak for all women. We're all individuals. So and I just wanted to chime in on that. I also wanted to add a little tidbit and be a little bit more transparent myself. I, like you, Big L, have been married multiple times. I've been married, actually, I talk too much. I've been married actually 3 times. My last husband is the one that passed away. He was a widow. Great man, alpha male. So I kind of know the perspective of being like a married woman, because I've been married most of my adult life, one way or the other, to one of these husbands. I've been married most of my adult life. But I just wanted to just to add that little tidbit and say that we need to be careful about generalizing and stating that all men, and I know it may feel that way because we're having problems with Black men and Black women getting along at this point. But I just wanted to say that we need to be careful with generalizing. That's all. That's it, and that's all. Everything else, I forgot what I was going to say. So
I
anyway.
apologize for that. So there's a question. There's a question here. Do I agree with the red pill community? So I did a blog. I write sometimes when I get in the mood. I write for a Medium. If anybody's subscribed for Medium, so I actually do that. So I wrote a blog about that, the red pill community, and I'm putting in the chat right now. I'm putting in the chat a show that I was on. You guys can click on it, right? And this was on DBDS, Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters Live, DBDS. And it says the name of the show was Why the Red Pill Community Needs to Go Away. I want to push these brothers. I want to have them on my show one day. And so in that show, the three other people on the panel were like, "Oh, we need to get rid of the red pill. Is doing more harm than it is good to the black to all communities, but in particular the black community." And so I came on there and said and advocated for the red pill community. So I would ask anyone who's my thought process. First of all, I assume you guys have been watching me for a little while, so you ought to know that I'm not some misogynistic bully or whatever. But I think I gave a real good breakdown as to what my thoughts are about the red pill community. I think the red pill community can help men to wake up and to grow up, just like Gloria's just said. She's been married multiple times, so have I. And so coming out here, it's a completely different environment. So you think that you're prepared for it, and you're not. And so the red pill community, when I started looking into it, helped me to understand, okay, this is how people are thinking today. This is how people are moving. This is how the dating scene's going. Ghosting is a thing. I think I had a good time on a date, and then the girl won't call you back anymore. All this kind of stuff, right? And you think it's you. You think it's me, right? Something wrong with my game or whatever. So the red pill community, I think, was very, very beneficial to can be very beneficial to helping a person like myself and even younger men in their 20s try to navigate this new dating scene, because it's vastly different from dating in the 1980s and in the 1990s. So I put that in here to say, listen, yeah, I'm thinking like a gentleman. So you can't do that. So I would say click on the link here, watch the show. It's a good show. And after, when I talked to them and told them exactly what my thought process was about the red pill community, they said, you know what, we can't disagree with what you're saying. So that's that. Does anyone else have anything else that they want to contribute?
I disagree with the red pill community. I think it's too aggressive towards women, and so and the mindset hasn't changed the dating community really at all, because I think it's like, I keep getting different numbers on it, but it's at least 60% of men right now are not dating, but I've heard it's up to as high as 80%. And so on top of that, men are also unaliving themselves more than ever, especially black males. And so out of the people who unalive themselves, 80 up to 8, I think it's 80 or 82% are males. And it's because they don't feel like they have a purpose in life, and because they don't feel like they have any value. And so if that is the case, the red pill community, they tell them to work out and do all this other stuff, and it just makes them more angry, to me, in my opinion, instead of actually doing something helpful or useful. And so if the red pill, black pill, blue pill was so helpful, why aren't more men getting married? Why aren't more men feeling like their lives are improving?
So that's exactly a lot of what I talked about. Number one, it should help you to do that. So that's number one. And listen, there's a lot of toxic stuff out there. I think we've agreed about that. And I am not pushing toxicity, and I don't listen to anyone who is pushing that type of thing. So the red pill community, so it has to help one to wake up to what's going on. When I grew up, I mean, there was plenty of jobs that a man could do, and it could be very, very financially beneficial and supportive. I was working at a bank. I was working before I became a police officer, I was working at a bank, and I was working at a hotel, and I made decent enough money to be able to take a girl on a date. That's not happening these days. And then the second thing that you have to look at is too, that women have changed considerably. And I don't think that that's taken into consideration. The women today, between OnlyFans, between their entitlement, somebody put in here about he believes in being the provider, but she's always shopping on Amazon. That was in the comments. Listen, listen. So the women, but you have a job. But if you're expected to pay all this, then women have changed considerably. Women have their options are better. So when you take a look at what, and I'm telling you, I have shows coming out about when I'm talking about this whole thing. They're coming. They're already. I showed you they're already in the pipeline. When women have changed so much that they don't really need you, then they become hypergamous. And so therefore they're going to date the guy who's taller, bigger, stronger. They're going to ghost people. They got 5 guys in their DMs. This is not a phenomenon that men had to deal with in the 1980s and 1990s. Yeah, you met somebody at a store, or maybe somebody tried to hit on you at your church, or somebody at the library or something. But it's every day and constant now. And so therefore the women's ego, not all women, but many women's ego has been inflated to such a degree and such a level where they don't think that they have to settle. They can go on a podcast and say, I can date 5 guys at a time, and these 5 guys are going to do it. We started off the show talking about how women were appreciative, or the whole bonnet conversation, and women are having guys who are so quote unquote high class in their DMs. Why are they in their DMs? Because they just want
so high class these days. Where did that come from?
I didn't hear what you just said.
Why do most men think they so valuable and high class these days?
I'm talking about the perspective of what has happened to the men. And what I've tried to show in different videos is what has happened to the men is that there's been a drastic change in women, and the women are in many people's cases not worth the squeeze. The second thing that's happened to men is the traditional masculine, manly jobs, the factory jobs that men could have done, are gone. So they don't have any purpose. They don't have a job. They don't have a job to take a woman out with. They don't have any of the accoutrements that our fathers and grandfathers had. So that causes them to be lost. Another thing that's happened has been feminism in the schools, in colleges. I talked about the movie Transformers. There was no need to make that the girl in the show say, I'm better than everyone here, and I'm better than you as Optimus Prime. That was the craziest thing I've ever. But it's not the craziest thing. But we're seeing all this time. So when you take into effect the feminist ideologies that's being pushed in the media, the feminist ideologies that's being pushed in colleges, K through 12 education, and you wonder what's happened to these men of the.
You get drizzle.
Girl,
you get all this, but and then you get the videos like I just played here, or the ones I played last week. That is what's happened to the men. So this is the situation that we're dealing with. And if we want to change it, yeah, we got to have men to stand up, but there's got to be jobs for them to go to. Go ahead.
I don't understand why the only thing that can take masculinity out is feminism. I really don't understand why that's the biggest threat to masculinity. I have no idea why that's the case. But
why feminine? Because you don't. I didn't hear that. You didn't. The biggest reason. The biggest threat to masculinity.
The biggest threat to masculinity is femininity. Feminism. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. The biggest threat to masculinity, not that it takes away from my own person. It's not my own personal. Yes, it's not my own personal manhood, but it takes away the need for men. Need to be needed. When they aren't needed, it is why men are unaliving themselves, because they are not needed in the workforce. It is because they are not needed in the homes. And when they don't have a purpose, I talked about this with the elephants, all this different type of stuff. So when you don't need men and you tell them, I don't need you, but I want you, listen, that doesn't fly. And this is routinely and dismissed, but it's evident in everything you said. You want to stop men from unaliving themselves. You want to stop men from just sitting home playing video games all day. You want to stop men from watching corn. That's the video that's going to drop tomorrow morning. Why so many more men are watching these funny adult movies all day. You want to stop them from doing that. You have to need men. You have to give them a place and a purpose in life. And if they don't have it, they become roving bands of gangs. You know how gangs really started? Gangs really started because when they had positive aspects for white boys, right? The boys clubs, the Boy Scouts, black boys were excluded from those types of things. So what did they do? They started forming their own groups. They started forming their own gangs. That's what this is what happens to boys when they don't have structure and when they don't have purpose. So when you have women in the workplace, again, this is going to drop tomorrow morning, but I'm giving you a preview of it. When you have women in the workplace, women become strong, independent. They don't need a man. They want to travel. That's what happens to women.
That's me.
When men get it, when men get a job, they get wives. See, there's a big difference in that.
But you need wives.
I know we do. I'm saying it. I agree with you.
You think, look, I'm the one that said I was a strong, independent woman that didn't need a man. And my husband just stepped to me with intention and he smiled and he started dating me anyway.
We can't go on the one-offs. We can't go on the one-off. We're talking about statistical anomalies. You can't say 60% of men are not dating. Well, I'm just still dating. Well, you're one of the 40% still dating.
If you want to be needed, you're gonna have to understand you're gonna have a lazy wife like me that don't like to do too much of nothing. And so when it comes to going to put air in the tires or cleaning up the house or taking care of everything, you're gonna have to do most of the work. And I need my husband. I really do. I understand that now. But when we met, probably for the first 7 years, I was like, I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need no man. Because for some reason, from the time my grandparents got married until my mom's generation, we just lost that whole thing where men and women decided they need each other. And I appreciate it, because who wants to be a woman that's put in a cage and feeling small at home and saying, I can't do anything. I have to depend on my husband for everything. I mean, women couldn't even have bank accounts until like the 80s. And so who wants to be in that? I like having my own money. I like having my own credit card. I like being able to do what I want to do. My husband supports me going on vacation by myself if I want to do that. But most men won't be able to put up with that, because
you're right. Most men won't be able to put up with that. That's an absolute truth. I wouldn't put up with that.
There needs to be a change, and we're not in the same.
And that's where strong men are saying no. I'm going to say no. I'm not changing. I'm not changing. I'm not sitting home all day playing video games. I'm not sitting home all day sleeping while you're at work. I'm not putting up with you traveling. I'm a strong man, and I run my household. And if it's either my way or the highway, that's the way that it is. It makes me toxic. But and that doesn't mean I don't love my woman. Doesn't mean I don't think she shouldn't be educated. Doesn't mean I want her to be in cave, barefoot and pregnant. That doesn't mean any of that. But it does mean that I believe in structure and having a house that is run effectively. And that type of environment that you are able to live in is one that you're able to live in. That's great. But a lot of men
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
But men are doing the same thing now. I also think that the red pill community is led by a lot of young people, or this whole war is led, like man-woman war, whatever you want to call it, is led by younger people, and it's changed the whole dynamic of,
Kevin Samuels was in his 50s.
Yeah, there's some older ones
he
too.
was in his 50s, but the people that have taken the reins now are younger.
No,
Andrew Tate. No, Andrew Tate is young. Andrew Tate is young. He's in his 30s.
And his brother.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Sex trafficking. So.
Yeah, I understand, but but he has a lot of followers, and there are young people that are listening to this, but it's almost like the dog. We're being led by young people. Yeah, exactly. We're being led by young people, and then the single people that are older are following suit. And there's a lot of confusion instead of following the ways that we were taught. And I find that men now are very dismissive, very angry.
They're incels. You know what
well, I mean, I understand. I'm not taking it personal, but what I'm saying is
the
that
John Calhoun study.
Yeah, it's just like they're way more picky. It's like if you have children, you're low value, and you're single, you're low value. If you don't have children, it's like, why don't you have any children by now? Literally, I have experienced that. I have experienced that. I'm the only single person on this panel that's never been married. So
go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
So what I'm saying is that it's really screwed everything up in all different generations. And people are not dating the same and following the same tenets. When I think that there were some tenets that we had in place in our age group that we, that still hold true, that would still help bring us together.
Like what, honey?
Like men were more masculine, women were more feminine. We had more masculine elders in our community that even if a young man did not have his father around, he had other people to look up to and figure out how to be a man. Even in society, they taught it was like kind of taught what a man should be and what a woman should be and how they should do those things. So it wasn't as easy to get lost in individualism, which is not a bad thing. But, when things change, when you gain something, you also lose something. And I think that's what we've lost. We've lost like tenets that held true and worked. And now they're gone and we're not coming together.
So I want to say this about and then I want to answer this question here. So this is this question about the different generations that have taken over the so-called red pill community manosphere, call it what you want. This is because men have graduated from high school and have looked out into the world and said, in order to become successful, you're going to have to, number one, either go to college, the military, or have a job. And those jobs aren't there. They've gone to college and recognized that even after graduating from college, they still don't get what they need. Now they're in debt. So now a lot of young men in their 20s, early 30s are saying it wasn't worth it. So this college education is only saddling me down with debt. Sometimes they drop out halfway through. So they're looking around in the world and the landscape that has told them that they're not that they're not doing as good as their fathers or as their grandfathers. And so, because at their grandfather's age, they were married. Their grandfather's age, they had whatever. The men today have not achieved the American dream. The average age of a first-time home buyer, in particular for men, was 27. It's now 47. The world has changed so much, and now home buying is almost forgotten about. So we want men to be masculine. We want men to participate, but you can't participate. I can't go out there and I want you to think this is difficult to really kind of put in place, because I know women want
masculinity isn't just tied up in economics. It is. I do agree with you. How
can I be?
I do agree with you wholeheartedly. However, we also have a lot of homes that don't have fathers in them. And because of that, they go out into the world and they're like, how come nobody taught me that? There's like a lot of our masculine figures that would teach boys how to be men have been removed. And but because of that, those men would teach those boys how to pivot. Those men would be lifelines to other different jobs, or help them how to navigate certain things. Those men would build confidence in them so that they still would be able to go out and get a woman, even if they weren't making the money that they're making. They think that they want to make.
It's different again. So this is all chicken and egg conversation. Which is coming first?
Mm-hmm.
Which is causing the problem? My assessment is that the problem in the lack of masculinity is because there's not enough jobs. Doesn't matter how manly a man is, how much he can fix a car, how many bugs he can kill, how good he fixes the dryer, as Sonia said. Doesn't matter any of that. If you can't pay the bills, you're not going to maintain the attention of a loved one for a long time. I want to get Raquel on here, but first let me try to answer this question here. Can the average Black man, based on their educational and income statistics, qualify to follow the red pill philosophy? Let me define what the red pill philosophy is, and I put it in the chat so you guys can watch it at your leisure. The red pill philosophy says that they have an understanding of female nature. That's what it is. And they understand that, number one, we understand female nature of hypergamy in particular. We also understand that the environment, the government environment that has propped women up, giving you jobs above men, Title IX, when there's a single household of one child, the woman got to go to college where they sent the boy, in particular Black men, to jail. When you understand that this is what has caused men to leave, to not want to participate, and then if I do get married, I get divorced, half of everything that I've worked for is now gone. In particular, when it's just leaving because I'm just not happy anymore. A no-fault divorce. All of these different aspects are what confined and constrained and defined what the red pill community is. And so men have said, based on the government, based on the nature of what's going on with the dynamics between men and women, based on the fact that it's rarer for me to get a job, I am not going to participate in this. I've done shows about China, the men in China doing the same thing. They're not going to participate. That's what the red pill philosophy is. Now, is it damaging to men? It could be. I say that there's toxic stuff. Can it be proactive? Can it be positive to get men such as myself to say, listen, I'm not crazy. This is really going on out here. Women are really on something. Not all women. I don't want to be accused of being that guy who's talking about women. But there's seriously a problem. And when you take a look at 20-year-old men who are trying to participate, they want to participate. They want to get jobs. They want to be educated. They want to do this. And there's, number one, there's no jobs. Number two, they just can't get attention. Let me just end off with this incel thing, and I'll let you comment, and then I'll bring on the other one. I'll get Raquel. This incel thing, I don't believe in the term incel. I think it's because they're not involuntarily celibate. What they are is involuntarily in relationships. They can't get a relationship, and they can't get a relationship because they don't have any money, because their drive has been diminished, and all the other things that I just I just defined. So we'll go to clever girl, and then Raquel.
Okay, Black men participate in their children's lives more than any other race of men. So it's like 66% of Black men participate in their children's lives. So they are doing the most when it comes to being fathers out here. They're also being the most stepfathers than any other race. So Black men are participating in their children's lives. The second thing is Black men don't have jobs is because Black men don't create businesses that create jobs. So I can see where the frustration comes in. However, it's your fault. And so I think if Black men really understood that just wealth, because there's plenty of Black people who make a lot of money when it comes to sports and music and stuff like that. But they're on out here creating businesses like Magic Johnson did. Magic Johnson did the Starbucks and the music. What was it? The movie theaters and stuff like that. He created businesses that created jobs, and those jobs had healthcare and stuff provided for them. So I can understand why Black men are at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to getting a job, because they hate Black people more than anybody else in this country, in the world, really. And so, of course, when they say a Black man can have the same degree and the same work experience as a white person when they go to a job, but they're going to a white job. And so the white person is going to pick the white male over the Black person every single time. And so that's why we have to have DEI hires, and we have to have affirmative action, because we don't own anything. Okay, I'm done.
Raquel, and then Goddess Lena. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening. I kind of walked in late because I was out anyways, but I'm always going to take it back to biblical principles. And I think to begin with, how can we fix the issue that we're having? And I'm not going to just restrict it to Black men, because I am biracial. So I know that's pretty much what we're talking about, but I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make as women, and I've had 2 Black men as husbands, their exes and what have you, I will never put them all in one pot because they're individuals. And I do believe everyone's responsible for their own success. I have 2 son-in-laws, millennials, who one's military and one is he's in finance and very successful. And he would probably not fit your typical millennial had he fallen for the trap of what we say about our Black men. And I think that's, if me I mean, I was raised Hispanic. Nonetheless, my dad was African American and what have you. So if I put all Black men in the same pot, and me as a Black woman, then I'm already degrading the very essence of who a Black man is. So how do we fix that? I believe the way we can fix it, and I don't know if we're looking for a solution or not, is that we've got to go back to biblical principles. A woman needs to understand her place as how God created her and what her purpose. We have so much power and authority that God has given us. We don't have to compete with a male. A man has his own, for God to say that a man needs to love his wife as Jesus loves the church, that is a big demand. And then I am, as a woman, supposed to hold him up in that position. And we've lost that. I believe it's, like I've mentioned before, is that it's become such an overly sexual, that everything is related around sex. That is natural. But because of how it is now misused, it's such a big pot of so much confusion that we're all pointing the finger to left or right. And if we have sons, I have 4 grandsons, one who is a teenager, the other ones are still young. So I often think about, what is their wife going? I'm praying for their wives right now because I'm thinking, who is raising my grandson's
daughter?
Who's raising my granddaughter's husband? And if they're not trained and taught how to know the difference between what the Bible says is a wife, which is not necessarily someone who is married, because God spoke of the wife in Genesis, and twice he referred to Eve as wife. He never referred to Eve as woman. It was Adam who did that. So that confusion started there, and it's continued. So what we do is that instead of really taking our place as moms, even as a single mom, I raised 2 daughters, but even as 2 daughters, they knew who the authority of my home was, and that was God. And we've lost that. So going back to when we do not respect the position of a man, okay, not just, I mean, some of them may have bad character, bad raising, and all of that is true, but there's still a position as a man as God created him. When we get back to respecting that, maybe not their actions, but just the fact that he is a male, he's been given a certain authority by God. And as women, whether he's my husband or not, he's a brother, he's my boss. Some women will respect their male boss before they respect their male husband or the male man that is paying for their nails, their hair. We've limited a man to that. Many women have placed that the only role they serve for them is, when they need their nails, when they need their hair, when they need something to be paid for, and we've put them in, that's the only role we've put them in. So we've taken away the masculinity of the man as God said he was supposed to be from the beginning, and we are seeing the results now. And that's unfortunate to put everybody together, and they're not. There are some that, yes, do need work. And I do believe that just like a man can really mess up a woman, we as women with the authority and the nurturing spirit that we have messed up some men as well. And we have to own up to that. I really do believe so. Take responsibility for that. and then look forward to be able to build our black men, our grandchildren, our sons, and build them up to be who God intended for them to be. So the next generation will look so much better than the one that we've messed up. I'll be 60 this year, so I'm part of the older generation, but it has definitely changed where you see more. I hear more young men, 20, 30-year-olds staying at home with mom. And I don't see anything wrong with that, because for me, I come from the Hispanic culture. You stayed home until you got married. And that was okay because we still had responsibilities. The boys had responsibilities and so did the girls. But we've lost that. We've taken that away. We've given it to the woman. We've taken the responsibility of what a man means and placed it on a woman just because she's single. I could never be a man. And I would never say I am both mother and father to my daughters, because I could never understand what it's like to be a man. And there was always a respect for my daughter's dad, regardless of what he did, because he was a man. That's just my input.
Very good. Somebody else was on the panel and they jumped off, but you can, I don't know if she's having connection problems. There's a couple of questions on here I want to kind of get to. I think Miss B had a question. There was a question she asked earlier. Thank you, Raquel, for that. I appreciate that. Did anybody want to comment on what she said before I get to the question?
I agree. I agree with most of all of what you've said. We can't just cite the men as having the issue, and some of the women may have caused the issues that some of the men are having. And like you said, I'm part of your generation as well. And I knew a time when it wasn't like this. And maybe we just have to look introspectively and find and see what we've done wrong.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I still think that the men need to, if you want to be in a position of authority, you have to start with the men first. You have to provide us with the jobs, the banks, the schools, the hospitals that take care of our needs, just like every other race of man does. And I think the women will follow. Like in the case of reparations, I was saying on another show, I think y'all need to do the work first and get the businesses and stuff in place for our communities so we can be like other women. Y'all want soft women, y'all want submissive women. You have to create an environment where we can be soft and submissive. And we don't get black communities. So you can come up in the black community, do whatever you want. Most people do all the time. So, and there's no one challenges them unless it's a gang challenging another gang. That's pretty much all that's pretty much all we get. And the same people terrorize our communities. They don't protect our communities. So I think if you want a soft, y'all keep saying we act like dudes. You have to provide us with a place to be soft. I can be soft in my house because I know I'm protected here. But when I stay in the red zone when it comes to the policing maps. So I stay in a black and Hispanic area. And so even though I feel pretty safe in the communities that I stay in, there's still the most crime in the city is committed on this side of town. And it's mostly young black boys for some reason, because they want to go out for, I don't know why they get so easily talked into crime, but they do around here. And we stay in a pretty decent enough area. So I don't know why that is. I just think probably what to fix it is it's like what was that guy? Austin Green from 90210. He used to act like he was black, and then Justin Timberlake used to act like he was black, but they all came from decent neighborhoods, and then they know they white now. So I think if my boys gonna act tough, they should be like probably like my stepkids. They can act like they tough, but they came from decent neighborhoods. They had a decent upbringing. So, but I think our whole community needs a break from the PTSD and the trauma that we go through on a regular basis, from not being protected with economic wealth and things that are specific for our communities. Like the Hispanic people have at least 4 or 5 grocery stores around here. Even though the majority, the major grocery stores are like Walmart and Sam's and stuff like that, and Kroger's and stuff like that. But I can go to El Michoacano, El Rancho, what's the other one? I can name like 5 of them off the top of my head, but I can't. I'm tired today for some reason. But we don't have that in our. I can't go to a black grocery store over here.
So it sounds the issue that I have with some of the same things you're saying is that I think it kind of contradicts a lot with Ms. Raquel. What she was saying. First of all, you got to respect black men, and it sounds like you're not willing to do that until they do something. And which I agree that we need to do something. I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything, but to the point about what we talked about before concerning the white girls doing the college athletes' homework.
Yeah.
I mean, so they don't have anything either, but they're willing to build with and work with their men, and I think that is the essential point to what has been a downfall of the black community, is that there's been a lack of commitment. We talk about the 1960s and before, desegregation was really a thing. But even after that, right, it's like now, like what happened? Like, and I think a major part of what happened is there's this idea, we look around and say, you don't deserve this respect. You don't deserve the respect of a man.
Why do you Big L the same thing that other races of men that provide these things for their communities did?
Because we needed you to stand by us when we were going through that. When they were burning down our homes and lynching our men and all this kind of stuff, we needed you to stand by us then. We need you to stand by us now.
We did. We did, and we still do.
So what happened today when you're not doing it? And the white girls, if you're standing by us, then white girls aren't doing your homework in college.
Well, the thing is that white women are taught to go to college to find their husband, and so they're willing to do certain things. So if that's doing,
why aren't you willing to do it?
Because we aren't sent. When we're sent to college. When we're sent to college with a different mind frame. It's not us against you or anything like that. It's just we're sent to college with a different mind frame. Keep your legs closed. Don't get pregnant. Just keep your head down and do your work and pay your way through school and all. We're like focused on a whole bunch of stuff. Nobody said anything about finding a husband.
And
Not
a
in our
lot of that is
community.
led by black men, though. A lot of that is led by the black father in the home telling you, I want you to go and sending their girls to college with that specific purpose, just to get education, be education minded, period. So a lot of black men are perpetuating that as well. But I do want to say that I don't think that what was it, Clever Girl was saying necessarily that a disrespect toward black men in this case. I think by the black men making the first step, I do think that is necessary to a certain degree. And the ways that I think it's necessary is because you can't have black men talking out both sides of their mouth. That's where I think that there's a conflict that black men can lead on. And we've talked about it earlier in the conversation, where you have black men saying out of one part of their mouth that they don't want to accept a black woman this way, whatever way that they perceive her being strong, whatever, or they want a fit, feminine black woman, but yet they're in the DMs of the ones who are not fit, feminine. They're contradicting themselves, and they're creating an issue. We've discussed that, so that's where I think that black men can take a lead and start with this change. So that's all. That's what I was going to say.
It's a rite of passage. It's every other man has done it. Black men need to do it on their own as well. And again, white women have socioeconomic wealth. So the majority of the country is white. So they can land anywhere and go find a job or go find a husband or go find an apartment to stay in. Black women get evicted more than anybody else. And it's because black people don't own apartment buildings or houses or something like that. So we don't have a safe place to land. We're going to land in a shelter on somebody's couch or in our car. We don't have the same thing. And so black men, what's y'all rite of passage now? What do y'all have to do?
Can I say
y'all
something?
used to have to go out and kill lions or something back in the day. What do y'all do now? Y'all don't do the same thing that other men do. in our communities. And we should not help you, because this is something you got to figure out on your own. So that you talking about you provide better for women when you get older in life. Why can't you provide our communities with the same thing that other men provide for their communities, so we can have a softer experience? You want us to be soft and submissive, but we out here dealing with the same crap y'all dealing with, working the same job like we have been for years. I don't even know, before 40s and 50s. My grandma even used to have a job. Even though she had 6 kids, she only had to go work for what she wanted, like furniture or something like that, every now and then. She didn't have to work all the time because my granddaddy took care of it. But if she wanted something extra, she would have to go get a job. And so we don't have that. And y'all keep acting like this is the same experience Black women get, is that the man gonna go out and make $100,000 a year, and then we're gonna stay home and take care of the kids. And then y'all try to tell us, well, maybe we're not gonna make $100,000 a year. We're only gonna make $50,000 a year, and you're gonna have 2 and 3 and 4 kids, and you're gonna be happy with that. And it's like, no, we understand. We got some. We since we can get our own jobs, and y'all should be I don't understand why y'all don't appreciate us having a job that helps us fulfill our lifestyles, because the same jobs that people had to do building infrastructure and stuff like that back in the past, y'all don't necessarily have to do the same things. Most men have like a desk job or something now, or some guys drive trucks or something like that. And it's usually jobs like back in World War II, when the guys were at war, the women ran the factories. And so what y'all did was, back then, was y'all kept us from having jobs so that y'all could control us. And now it's like, hey, just like the Bible says, when Raquel said, when she brought up the Bible said men and women were made in the image of God. We were made equally. So of course we have.
No, we weren't made. We were not made equal. We were made equal. We were made equally by way of. But we have different. God made us different with different roles. He made a man will never be able to have a baby. We can. Right. So we can empower the men. The Bible says in Proverbs, a man that when a man finds a wife, he has found a good thing.
Proverbs 31.
Right. Well, Proverbs 31, she's not necessarily married. She's not only married, she is also single. But her ability to do everything that she does, or she did, and she was simply an example. If you look further up in Proverbs before you get to chapter 10, to verse 10, it is a mother trying to teach her son what a wife looks like. But the reason she was able to do so much, because you don't see the man doing anything, and it's not that he's not doing anything, it's just that she feared God. And she feared God enough to do what God said in Genesis, which was to take authority. So we have so much authority that it is not my responsibility to wait for a man to do anything for me. My responsibility is to respect him, to position myself under the authority of God. So when I do meet the one that God has as a husband, he's going to be able to recognize that I am a woman of submission. The Bible in Genesis, when he calls us wife, is for us to be able to see God as we would see a man, an earthly man. If God is my protection, my shield, my covering, everything that he intends, everything that I need, he is the example of what a man as a husband on earth would be. So it is not my responsibility to wait. I have 2 businesses and a ministry. If I wait for a Black man to treat me right, to do me good, I would never do anything. Right. So my responsibility is to love them and respect them as a man, whether Black, white. And like I mentioned, how many of us do not work for a white man? And we're not submit. You see, submission is not based only on a Black man or whether he's your husband. Is coming under the authority of God, coming under the authority of anybody that God allows to be over us. Right. So when we take a back seat and say, you prove to me that you are who you're supposed to be. Think about the generation that's coming behind us. When is that going? When are we going to just take authority that God has given us? Man doesn't give me authority. The man on earth does not, but God does. So I have the authority to stand as a woman, being protected and shielded by God as my covering, who I'm submitted under, and I can fulfill everything I need to fulfill so that I can be found as a wife doing what I'm called to do as a single person. And I think we will get a lot further. And not only that, but the children that are impacted, the young women that are watching us, the sons that are watching us, they're going to be able to see an example so that this does not continue from generation to generation. Now, when you say you put everybody under the same pot, I'm sorry, both my son-in-laws are hardworking. Both of them came from different households.
I think we're
started from the ground up, and neither one of them, my daughters, they don't have to work, but they do, and they're educated as well. And I see them work together. They have the marriage that I would love to have, but you know what? They didn't have it easy. They did not. If anybody was, both of them came from different homes, but still experienced rejection, and yet are successful in their fields, and no one gave them anything. So they earn their respect. They earned it together because they all got married young. They earned it together as husband and wife. So if we teach our children to begin to respect and not to expect someone to always give them something, then I think we'll change the generation. Things will begin to turn around.
I was talking about I was trying to get to the Proverbs 31 woman, where it says that she does business. She gets up early to do business as well. So she's not just sitting at home raising kids. She's also doing, she also has a job to take care of her household and buy other things.
But that's what we have to do anyways. We
Right.
have to, whether I'm married or not, I have to do laundry, I've got to cook. I still have to do those things. It's an honor to be able to have someone to share it with if that time comes. But it refers to her as a wife, because it's only an example, but it's also refers to her as being single, because she has taken the position of a wife to God, as far as Christ being, because it's a metaphor. Of course, Jesus is not there yet, but there is an example of Christ in there, where he's sitting at the gate. That's actually God. But at the end, if you read way on the bottom, the only way she's able to fulfill all of that is because she feared God. And we've lost the fear of God even within, within the church. And with us fearing God, we're not able to fulfill even our role as women, and be able to fulfill and to move the generations further.
But I think most men, I think we find in the Black community, a lot of Black men don't believe in God anyway, so they don't go to church.
But there are many that do. The church is filled with Black men now. Whether and it's not everybody. It's not everyone. Maybe it's that one who hurt me, because I've been hurt by really nasty by two Black men. But again, I still love a Black man. I don't look at it as it's all and I put them on a race. I just don't. That's just my choice, because my dad was a good Black man. And I still consider them to be good, but I'm not the one to judge them, regardless of what they did to me, regardless of how they did not, whatever, and what have you. They were still men created by God. And I still have a level of respect for them, not because of how they treated me, but just because of them being a human and being an individual and being a man. Because I don't want that to bleed into my grandsons. I have 4 of them.
I think still we got maybe a little bit off track, because we were talking about Black men going out and creating wealth in our communities, and why we should or should not help them, because I think that's what Big was saying. He was like, why can't we help them? And I'm like, we're always
stand by them. I said stand by them.
Stand by them, yes. But how so?
Well, a perception and the way we perceive them will keep us from standing by them. That's what I was sharing. Because if we don't do our part and not look at them as, not look at all Black men the same, and sit back and say, well, I'm not going to help you. If I have an opportunity to raise a teenager, a young child, take them under my care and raise them, or I see a Black man, I have an opportunity to contribute, not from a wife perspective, but just as a woman, to undergird them, then there's nothing wrong with that. That will change society. But our perception as to how we see men will keep us from wanting to help them. So if there's something inside of me that is maybe because of trauma, because of past hurt, because of perception, the community, if I hold that over their heads, and I can help them to come out from where they are, am I doing the right thing? I don't think so.
I
So
think
that's essentially what my point was, is that you know, it's the I think there's I think that you, clever girl, have a really bad negative image of the black man. And I just think, and I'm not going to convince anyone to try to change that. It's your image, and you have every right to have it, and you don't have to change. But if the question is why are these, what, and this is brought up, and I'm saying this again, if the question is as to why these black men grow up in these communities, and then as soon as they get some money, go to college, whatever, they get with a white woman, it's because of the exact attitude that you're displaying. Is that they don't deserve it. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to stand by you. You got to do it yourself, and then we'll get in line. Well, I'm going to get but the white girls is helping me do homework or doing it for me or whatever. She's investing in me some way, somehow, and that's all that. And if you don't want to do that, and you don't believe that people should do that, then that's fine. You can do whatever you want. And I'm not going to try to convince you. I don't believe in talking anybody into doing anything they don't want to do. But I'm just telling you, if you want something different, if you want to build something up, because if I'm at work, somebody, if I'm working doubles and I'm trying to set up a business, and I know people who set up businesses and doing stuff, right? And they got kids, somebody has to take time to be at home with the kids. Somebody has to take time to do whatever. So you want me to build a business? You want me to do this? You want me to do that? You want me to go out here and conquer the world? I hear you. But I'm going to be with somebody. But in the meantime, I'm still going to want to have relations. I'm still going to want to go out on a date. And if you don't want to look at me, you think I'm less than, you think that every other race of people is doing it. And I listen, I agree that we got a lot of work to do in the community. I'm not pushing back against that. But at the same time, if somebody else is helping me, somebody else is taking my clothes to the laundromat, somebody else is helping me do homework, somebody else is putting gas in my car, who do you think I'm going to marry? That's all I'm asking you to consider.
Do you think black women don't do that? Black women are some of the most generous people on the planet.
You're displaying an attitude that says I'm not doing it. You've said it numerous times.
What I'm saying is we have done it. We should stop doing it because it gives you.
You should stop doing it. You're right. You should stop doing it. Go ahead and stop doing it. You're absolutely right. I'm not going to fight with you. I'm not going to fight with you. Go ahead and stop doing it.
I think black women should stop doing it as a whole because it gives y'all keep saying y'all want purpose. If the purpose is you need somebody to need you, what we need is banks, schools.
Gotcha. We hear you loud and clear. We hear you loud and clear.
And so, like when I take something to my husband, it's like nothing I can take to him that he will not fix. He's all about purpose. And so me, I don't have to stand there and hold his hand through it. He's just a person. He's a solution-based person. He likes to take care of business. He likes to get things done. So if I go to him and say, hey, there's something wrong with the house or something wrong with the roof or something wrong with my car, he's going to go get it fixed. I don't have to stand there and hold his hand. I don't even have to necessarily have a sandwich for him if when he get done with it. He's just that kind of guy. He's going to make sure everything in the house is taken care of. If I don't feel like cooking, we going to eat. He going to make sure we going to eat. If I don't feel like doing some other stuff, he is the head of the household because he takes accountability and responsibility for everyone and everything in this house. And that's just who he is as a person. And so that's how he gets purpose in his life because he wakes up and he's just ready to do something.
Do men need to have a greater sense of, do black men in particular and all men now need to have a greater sense of purpose? I'm not pushing back against that. I'm not disagreeing with you. Listen, I've talked about mate selection for men and women. We need to do better. And if we want to stop having the first video that I played or one of the first videos that I played, if you want your man to sleep all day and watch the kids, then you got to raise better men. I've said it numerous times and I'll keep saying it numerous times. But at the same time, the relationship dynamic is a give and take. We talk about the men being in these women's DMs, so-called high value men being in these women's DMs and all that. I will grant you that. I will. But there's another aspect is that the women are sleeping with the Pookies and Ray Rays. So we both got to do something about our mate selection. This is a mate selection problem that is going on within the black community. So black men who are on their game and on their grind and on their purpose need to get with women who are on their game, on their grind and their purpose. They need to stop sleeping with the bonquishas, and and the guys need to stop sleeping. I mean, whoever needs to stop sleeping with the Pookies and Ray Rays. We have a mate selection problem. That is the biggest issue that I think we've got to solve. And as long as we're being atavistic, animalistic, I know you keep pushing it back against that because you want a man that you can look at and be, that's great. I want that for you and for every other woman. But the most important thing that when you are selecting for a mate should be the financial, economic stability and the future prowess of that man. And as long as there's any hint that says, no, that's not the most important thing, that is the problem. And that will cause you to go after the Pookie because he's got more swag. It'll cause you to go after the Ray Ray because he's carrying guns. That is the issue. And that is something we've got to solve. We have to solve it within all of our culture. And so as long as we continue to have that, we'll continue to be right where we are. And a man won't want to build because what am I building for? Either I'm going to build and I'm going to give it to someone of another race, or I'm going to build it for some woman who's going to bring me a bunch of kids from some other Pookie who don't want to take care of them, or bring me emotional trauma, or bring me STDs. So we got to fix the way that we mate select. And we have to push this. And if part of the mate selection process should be get you a woman in college. Get you a husband in college. Build with that man. Don't say, I'm not building.
But y'all don't go to college as much anymore.
You're right. I'm not gonna argue with you. If you don't hear me, you're right. We don't go to college. We're not in trade school. We're not in the military. We're all hanging out on the corners doing whatever. You're absolutely right. Meanwhile, you were a police officer. I was a police officer. I saw the highly educated women who are sneaking Pookies and Ray Rays in. So we can point the fingers at each other. This is a finger pointing session. We're not getting anywhere. I'm trying to say that we need to stop with the finger pointing. We need to stop doing what we're doing and try to choose better. If it's the men telling their daughters to go to college and just focus on, there's nothing wrong with focusing on that. But when you hit your senior year, you ought to get yourself a ring. But listen, I want to wrap this up. We've been on for 3 hours and 18 minutes. I want to give everybody a last moment. Clever Girl, you're up first. Then Glorious Love, and then Raquel, because you came on last, I'll give you the longest time to wrap up. Go ahead.
Okay. I think again, you don't want to point fingers, but if we're going to be valuable in this society in America, and we can stop being at the bottom of it, because we're going to be like the permanent underclass. We're even lower than Hispanic people now when it comes to numbers. So if we want to build up our community, we need to start with money, socioeconomic wealth, and then we also need somebody to teach us how to select a correct mate. We need to learn how to select a husband. Y'all need to learn how to select wives, because if we bring in Pookies and Ray Rays, y'all bringing in OnlyFans girls and Kim Kardashians, and y'all say don't you can date a hoe but don't wife her or something like that. Y'all been wifing them, and so we need to stop all of that. So, and then we also need to provide things specific to we need to do tribalism. We keep doing, we keep talking about individual things, but we do individually. I think most of us doing decent enough on this show anyway. But when it comes to our communities, we need a lot of help, and we need men to step up. I'm sorry, if you want women to start from the beginning, it's gonna be just like it is right now. We got a matriarchal society, and it's just not gonna. We're gonna stay in the same position we're in now. So we need strong. If y'all want to be strong alpha males, we need y'all to step up and do a lot more for our communities. And I promise you, the women they'll follow. We'll follow. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Glorious, you're
Okay.
up, and then we're going to be Smart Singer, and then Raquel. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to, it's going to be real short. I'm singing the same song. I do still believe that that men are going to need to take the lead on the issue of talking out of both sides of their mouth. That's it. That's the primary thing. And when I said that, I meant, of course, by telling women one thing and meaning another, because women are delusional when it comes. Some women are delusional when it comes to that male attention. They're delusional. They're thinking it's something else. They're thinking it's more than what it is, and that's what's making the issue complicating the issue when it comes to women, men and women's relationship, because women are thinking that they are getting the male gaze, and it's a healthy male gaze, and it's not. So men need to stop. That's it.
Very good. Thank you. Smart Singer, you're up.
First, I wanted to apologize to Clever Girl. I'm sorry if I cut you off earlier. And I don't mean to speak in generalizations. I'm not usually on podcasts or anything like that and do lives. So, but I would like to just reiterate that we need to look at romance in a different light. That it is acts of service and paying attention to people, as opposed to roses and grand gestures and taking them out to, fancy restaurants and things of that sort. And that women need to be more appreciative of those things when they do pay attention to them, their individual needs and wants. That's it.
Very good. Raquel.
Yeah, I think where where we struggle a lot is that there's a mistaken identity that has been caused by trauma, bad relationships, with divorces being high, breakups being high, and I think as women we've lost the sight of who we are, the authority that God has given us as women. He did say that made us to be a helpmeet, and not just a helpmeet to a husband, but a helpmeet to any man. Anytime God has placed in the Bible husband 100 times, but yet he speaks of a wife over 400 times, it's important. And I believe it's important because wife is a role that we play, or a position actually that God has given us, and that's our identity, and we've lost that. Some of us have not found it, don't realize that. If we that role and understand that God is our covering, that he is our protector, that he is our provider, he's the one that sustains us, then we as women need to also look to our daughters, raise daughters with a better image, with more of an image of God. There's a difference when us as women go looking for a husband than when we're found. Too many women are looking. So when we go looking, we go out with a shopping list. When we don't find what we like, we compromise, and then we put everybody in the same pot. And it's working against us right now. And those are the pains that we are feeling right now. So as mothers and daughters connect and live a life of integrity, a life with values that give our daughters worth, then they may not so easily be taken by the pookies. Sometimes they're the attractive ones. It doesn't matter. But when we begin to become that identity for that we're supposed to be, that God created us to be, then we're not having to wait, raising our daughters, not to have to wait for someone to take the first step, especially a man, or to misjudge them, but to always have that respect. But I believe it has started with the trauma, with the traumatic emotional effects that we've had. And many of us have had, if we had moms that were divorced and they had bad relationships, it's become generational. So there is a position that we should take, and that is to first seek the healing that we need and getting over the traumas, because something has skewed our vision for us to see the Black male. And I'll share this with you, and I know this is probably going out everywhere else, but couple years ago, I literally had a dream where the Black man was being suppressed, and they were being suppressed not just and they were being suppressed by a woman. And as I see more and more that the male, just the man, the position of a man, men are their masculinity is being removed and being attacked, especially in the Black man. And when we do it within the Black race, then we are just as guilty. We can't blame the white. And again, my mom was Hispanic, my dad was Black, and I think I can speak for both. But when we speak, when we do not want to hold up our Black men, our Hispanic men, the minority, then we are giving permission for everyone else to talk down to them. And it begins with the trauma that we experience. Some of it has been generational. And that is what has to heal in order before we can actually see things change.
You said something at the beginning of your speech about something about the number of times wives were mentioned and number of husbands were mentioned. What was that? What was that number?
Yeah, in the Bible, the word husband is mentioned about 107 times, and wife is mentioned over 400 times. And the implication is not always implied as wife to a man, a human man. It's a spiritual position. And it's in Genesis 2, when Adam referred to Eve twice as this woman, God referred to her as wife. And it's a position and a posture that we are to take, that we don't understand. So when we say we want covering as women, we may not understand what that covering is, because if you are under the authority of God, then you have covering already. But there's a confusion in that, because it is a spiritual thing, and that's been skewed.
Very good, very good. So that actually ties into what I'm going to end off with, right? Because we had a very, very good, vigorous debate. And I appreciate all of you coming on. I really, really do. You guys made the show very, very lively. This what you just mentioned, Raquel, is, to me, is the exact issue that we're having in this day, in this time. The roles have been reversed. The reason, and I don't claim to be, well, actually, I kind of do claim to be a biblical scholar, but you feel free to disagree. Well, you can disagree with me another time, because this is over. We're not going on anymore. So, but the reason that I think that husband in this position, title, role is only mentioned 107 times, and the word wife is because it was apparent to everyone what a husband was. Everybody knew that once you got a job, you had something going on for yourself, you were a husband. It was automatic you take care of the house. It was automatic. Was it Smart Singer or somebody said that even Clever Girl said it, right? But this guy takes care of it. It was automatic. We know what it is. That role has been disrupted. So you had to tell a wife, here's what your responsibilities are as a wife. You need to be this, you need to be that. They had a whole chapter in the Bible about it. This is what you need to do in order to do that. That role has been disrupted. So when they talk about what the threat, the question we answered before, that masculinity has by feminine, that was the threat. We're living it. This is my assessment. We can have a Bible study another time to talk about it. So the shows that I have coming up are talking to men. Tomorrow morning is dropping a show about has adult movies ruined men. I got a show coming up about why did we think collectively. That was part of the I forget the word that you use, Clever Girl, about thinking collectively, being tribalistic. It's probably going to answer a little bit of that. Why men left the church, teaching boys not to be predators. Let's see, other shows about men. Why can't 35-year-old men get it together? Men still not dating with intention. So I have a lot of shows talking to men and all that. So I thank all of you for coming on. I definitely think that men need to lead the way. I definitely think there's a lot of changes that need to come on. So I really, really appreciate everyone in the comment section. Feel free to buy me a sandwich or hit that. Where's my thing at? Feel free to buy me a sandwich. 3 hours. It took me a long time. I get hungry. So I will see you guys you guys will see me in the morning. I'll try to do another show next week. I really, really appreciate it. If there's anyone who wants to use my services, it's all in the comment section, in the description, in all that. And I think that's it. So thanks to everyone.
Good
I will
night,
see you guys
all.
next
Good
time.
night.
Yeah, good night. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Y'all tax me. So have a good night. We'll see y'all.
Good night.